Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you. And how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? And those of you watching around the world on the live stream, what's happening, y'all? It is great to be with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being a part of the program. I hope everyone is doing exceptionally well, no matter where you are, what you got going on. I am Rob Brown. Thank you for spending your afternoons with us. Thanks for letting us spend our afternoons with you. Back in the network studio, Zoe on vacation this week, so we went to the bullpen, called in the rookie righty with the heater. My man Drew in charge of the broadcast today. What's up, fella? How we doing?
Ready to knock it out of the park, I guess.
I love it. I love it. Got through day one. We didn't break anything. Nothing exploded. Nobody hurt themselves. So here we are for round numero dos, Drew.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Going to be a busy, busy day on the broadcast today, and I hope that you will join us. Lots of ways to do that. 844-477-3776 is the number to get on the phone lines with us today. We'd certainly love for you to. 844-GSP ESPN. Text us at 71307. 71307. Start your text with ESPN so that we can read them live on the air. 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air for you. And, of course, you can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show and at ESPN Upstate, at The Rob Brown Show, or at ESPN Upstate on the Twitter device. Also, the live stream is up and running. You can join us at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Click the play button, hang out with us. You can watch us do the show live. You can interact with us on the breaks. You got any questions you wanted to ask me or Drew, and they are not necessarily on-air questions, well, the live stream is set up for you to jump in, chat with us behind the streams, have a little fun. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. Those are all available to you. So join the live stream, have some fun with us, and we'll remind you, not that you didn't know, not that you didn't wake up ready to celebrate, but you know what today is, Drew. You know who we celebrate today on March 16th, 2021. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. 316 says, we just started the show. Can I get a hell yeah? Drew, can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
There we go. Man, it's a hard crowd to pop today, man. Hard crowd to get up out of their seats today. That's all right. It's Tuesday. Tuesday's always kind of the slow day. Doesn't stop us. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk some sports by starting off with this little ditty we do.
Oh, that was early.
Yeah, it's okay. I know it's a little earlier in the show than you're used to. Starting off the show with this little ditty that we do. I think I hear it, but it's not coming to me. So I'm going to assume that it's playing. Ah, there it is! There it is! It's time for the lunch breakdown. The 3 things you have to know before you go talk sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. These are the 3 biggest items that'll be going around the water cooler during your lunch break today. We start off with item number 1, NFL free agency update. Yesterday was the end of the no tampering period. It was the first day that NFL teams could begin talking to NFL free agents legally in order to start working on contracts with their squad. And boy, was it a busy day. We start down with your defending, reigning, undisputed Super Bowl champions of the world, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Big signings yesterday for Tampa Bay. 2 of them, to be specific. First and foremost, Tom Brady gets a toy back, and his name is Rob Gronkowski. It appears most of the band is staying together, and Gronk is in that number. The Bucs on Monday secured one of their most profound offensive tools. Hour after indicating he might be inclined to dip his toes in free agency, he did not do that. Veteran tight end Rob Gronkowski agreed to another one-year deal with the Buccaneers that unites him with fellow future Hall of Famer Tom Brady for an 11th season. Drew Rosenhaus, serving as Gronk's agent, said to ESPN that the deal is worth 1 year, $10 million. The soon-to-be 32-year-old played in all 20 games in 2020 despite coming off a one-year retirement. Ended the season with 45 snags, 623 yards, and 7 touchdowns in the regular season, then proved more valuable as a protector than target for much of the playoffs, getting the ball thrown only his way only once in wins against Washington and Green Bay. But then Gronk showed out on Super Bowl Sunday. 6 catches, 67 yards, a pair of touches. And during that time period, he made it clear he wanted to remain with the Tampa Bay Bucs. So Gronk is back, but he's not the only one coming back. Shortly after the Bucs booze-fueled Super Bowl boat parade, Bruce Arians stood on a stage and took turns telling receiver Chris Godwin and linebackers Levante David and Shaquille Barrett the same thing he said in his speech: "Your bleep ain't going nowhere," end quote. All 3 were potential free agents. That number now down to 0. The Bucs used the franchise tag on Chris Godwin. They also signed Levante David to a team-friendly deal and restructured Tom Brady's contract. Now, the biggest move may have just come in yesterday. One of the NFL's best pass rushers in Shaquille Barrett has agreed to terms, 4 years, $72 million contract, includes $34.5 million guaranteed, according to the Tampa Bay Times. A few hours later, Gronk signed, but Shaquille Barrett, one of the big names Tampa was trying to keep down there in the Bay, mission accomplished. To the Washington football team we go. Over the past couple of years, it has appeared that the NFL strategy has largely been, if you are in a spot where you don't have a franchise quarterback, where you can't secure a franchise quarterback via free agency, and you are not in position to draft the future franchise quarterback, then you go sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that has now happened. The QB room looks a little full there in Washington, D.C. now, as Fitzpatrick will join a quarterback depth chart that includes Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen. Adam Schefter reported that Fitzpatrick will report to training camp as number 1 on the QB depth chart. Shefty tweeting out, former Dolphins QB Ryan Fitzpatrick reached agreement with the Washington football team on a 1-year deal worth $10 million that could grow to 12 with incentives. Per a source, he is expected to head into camp as the starter, with Taylor Heineke giving him competition for that spot. The 38-year-old vet passed for 2,091 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 picks, and a 68.3% completion rating in 7 starts, 9 total games last year. Opened the season is the starter. Fitzpatrick ultimately gave way to Tua Tagovailoa, and so we will see if he does the same there in D.C. That brings us to what's happened down in NOLA. Jameis Winston reaching a 1-year agreement with the New Orleans Saints to give a shot at becoming their starter. The Saints and Winston agreed to a 1-year contract, according to league sources. The Athletic first reported the news, and subsequent reports indicated the deal will pay Winston $5.5 million in base salary, potential earnings up to $12 million if he can reach some incentives. Winston confirmed the news last night with a tweet that simply said, "Who dat?" with some fleur-de-lis behind it. Hashtag NOLA, hashtag dream forever. The 1-year contract will be beneficial for both. New Orleans gets an opportunity to get an extended look at a player who may factor into their long-term plans, but was on the field for just 55 snaps last season. For Winston, the contract represents an opportunity for him to bet on himself and earn a larger payday if he does well with the Saints. A former Saint on his way to Cincinnati. New Orleans Saints standout defensive end Trey Hendrickson's time with the black and gold has come to an end. He's agreed to terms with the Cincinnati Bengals, confirmed via social media yesterday. One of the top free agents for the Saints this year is about to show exactly why the cash-strapped Saints were unable to sign him. 4 years, $60 million to sign with the Bengals. $32 million of that come in the front 2 years. Hendrickson also had reportedly received interest from the Jets, Vikings, and Browns, but he decides to move over to the AFC with the Bengals. Monster season in 2020, 13.5 sacks, 15 regular season games. Those sacks rank second league-wide in a tie with four-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald. The Saints wanted Hendrickson back for 2021, but knew they might not be able to afford him after the increased level of production last year. Mickey Loomis described him as, quote, an attractive free agent for anyone, end quote. He had come out of little old FAU in the second round of the 2017 draft, slowly used more and more until he absolutely blew up this year. The second Saints player from last year to sign with another team is former Saints tight end Josh Hill, signed with the Lions earlier this week. To Tennessee now we go, just down the road, as the Titans have added a pass rusher and former Steelers linebacker Bud Dupree. The Titans trying to solve a pass rushing issue in which it was all but non-existent last year by bringing in the former Steelers outside linebacker. Has been a guy who has provided steady pressure on opposing quarterbacks in Pittsburgh over the last few years, racking up 39.5 sacks over the past 6.5 seasons. Had a career high 11.5 sacks in 2019, 8 sacks, but he played in only 11 games last year after tearing his ACL against the Ravens late in the year. The 6'4", 269-pounder was on his way to Tennessee. And we're not done. Patrick Mahomes, less than a week after losing both starting left tackles, well, the Chiefs have now reinvested in the offensive line. Former outstanding New England Patriots lineman Joe Thuney has agreed to a 5-year contract with the Chiefs. The deal, worth up to around $80 million, would make him the league's highest paid interior lineman. Can't officially become official until 3 o'clock tomorrow, but the league-wide negotiation period opened yesterday, and the Chiefs were one of the first to jump on there. The 28-year-old has a pair of Super Bowl rings with New England, was a second-team All-Pro selection in 2019, plays primarily left guard, though he filled in at center last season following injuries. A year ago, the Patriots used the franchise tag to keep him for the season, paid him $14.78. He moves from the dynasty in New England to one trying to replicate it in Kansas City, but one that desperately needed some offensive line help last year. They get it this year in Joe Thuney. That brings us to item number 2. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on the NFL free agency tracker throughout the rest of the day, as I expect that we are far from done there. To the United States men's national soccer team we go, and big news yesterday for the USMNT as they learn that Yunus Musa, who is an outstanding middle linebacker and middle infielder for the now U.S. men's national soccer team, has decided he was a dual citizen between the U.S. and England, grew up in the Three Lions system, learned his youth soccer in England. He moved to London when he was just 9 years of age, learned his soccer there, played in the Arsenal U17 system, played for the Three Lions in their U17 system. In fact, had lined up against the United States multiple times for England. But when it came time for him to make his one-time decision about where to play his international football, he signs with the Americans, and that is a huge pickup. Taylor Twellman yesterday took to social media to talk about why that is such a big deal for the U.S. men's national team, and here's what Taylor Twellman had to say.
Yunus Musa will play for the United States over England. What a fantastic coup for Greg Berhalter and his staff, but even more so for the players in that locker room. Listen, this is an extremely difficult time coming out of a pandemic, trying to build an identity, trying to build some camaraderie within a group. And yet here they have right? When you see the young group of players and Tyler Adams and Weston McKinney and Giovanni Reina and Christian Pulisic all coming together, and Yunus Musa having a little taste of that, feeling like he belonged, but even more so feeling like he can add something. When you look at the United States national team, you're looking at a group of players that we're going to be talking about for the next 7 to 10 years, and Yunus is going to be a big part of it. His education as a player was with Arsenal. We've seen what he's done in La Liga since a young player with Valencia. But now the prospects of him playing in the midfield through the middle and even at times at wide, whatever it may be, where Greg Berhalter and whoever the manager is down the road looks at and sees what he can do. This is a pedigree of a player, one that England and Gareth Southgate desperately wanted. Will be wearing the red, white, and blue. Bravo to Greg Berhalter and his staff.
Yes, indeed. Not something that I have said very often, but bravo to Greg Berhalter and his staff for landing one of the most sought-after international candidates for the last few years. And we're watching, I got to tell you, ever since the U.S. missed out on the last World Cup, I had been pessimistic, but now all of the sudden optimism creeping its way back into the picture. Guys like Pulisic, Reina, and now you add yet another to the mix in Yunus Musa, a guy that very could have easily gone and played for England, a team in England that has obviously struggled. No World Cup titles in a number of years for England, but a club that has sustained success opposed to the United States team that over the past couple of years has kind of waxed and waned in terms of success, but now they are adding big-time names to the fold. We're going to talk more about that later on in the show. And finally, item number 3 on the lunch break down. Stop me if you've heard this one before, though I expect many of you listening will not want to. It is tournament time for the ladies and the 2021 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament bracket, which will tip off in San Antonio, Texas, has released its bracket. Stanford is the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, joined by UConn, NC State, and Dawn Staley's Gamecocks of South Carolina. In a year which has been interesting, obviously, we've got the pandemic hopefully winding down sooner rather than later, but in a year where there was a lot of parity at the top of the pack, Dawn Staley and her crew will be the one seed in the Hemisphere region there in San Antonio, Texas. South Carolina, the 1 seed, will be joined out there at the Hemisphere region by number 2, Maryland, number 3, UCLA, number 4, West Virginia, number 5, Georgia Tech, number 6, Texas, number 7, Alabama, number 8, Oregon State, number 9, Florida State, number 10, UNC, number 11, Bradley, number 12 in the bracket. Alongside the Gamecocks will be Stephen F. Austin. Lehigh is the 13th seed, Wyoming the 14, Mount St. Mary's the 15, and in your opening 16-1 matchup, South Carolina will square off with Mercer in the opening round. I do not love this bracket for Dawn Staley in South Carolina. There's a lot of good competition there. This is going to be a tough bracket for South Carolina to reach the Final Four. FSU is a team that early in the year looked very good, and they've had a lot of tournament success lately. North Carolina, same story. West Virginia, as the 4 seed, is dangerous. And, of course, waiting for them in the Elite Eight, should they make it there, the Terrapins of Maryland are a good women's squad as well. So the bracket is up, and Dawn Staley and her girls have earned a number 1 seed in the women's bracket. We'll break that bracket down later on in the show as well. But it is time for a break. We run to one right now. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us, 71307, 71307. And join us on the stream, facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, and, of course, on YouTube at The Rob Brown Show. When we come back, a texter has asked a very important question of Drew that he must answer to appease the listeners. We do that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
I forgot to tell you, QC Kinetics is right off the bat.
All right.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Let the game come to you. Listen no matter where you go. In Anderson, Clemson, Greenville, and Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate is always streaming on the radio.com app.
Non-surgical regenerative therapy. That's what QC Kinetics offers. We've all got the joint pain. We've all got to deal with it. But none of us want to go through surgery. Of course not. Who knows what can happen? There can be complications. Something could go wrong. The damage could be worse coming out of the surgery than it was going in. Wouldn't you like to at least try out a non-surgical option that utilizes the body's basic biology, its own healing capabilities evolved over the years to make yourself feel better when surgery wasn't an option? And then you don't have to get cut open. Of course you would. Who wouldn't? And that's why you need to reach out and get in touch with the folks at QC Kinetics. Reach out to the folks at QC Kinetics. Go to their website, QCKINETIX.com. Whether you've got knee pain, shoulder pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, ankle pain, lower back pain, hip pain, arthritis, carpal tunnel, finger or toe pain, foot and hand pain, nerve pain, flexor fasciitis, tendonitis, sciatica, tendon, ligament, muscle pain, whatever it is that is making your daily, day-to-day life that much more difficult, QC Kinetics can help you out. QCKinetics.com or give them a buzz right this very second at 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get in there for a free consultation and let the folks at QC Kinetics let you know how you can feel better, faster, naturally with our friends at QC Kinetics. All right.
I might need QC Kinetics. You ever gotten those cramps late at night where you can't even walk the next morning?
Left leg, bro.
Yep.
Left leg constantly.
I'm limping all over the place.
Yep.
I'll just say it's a work injury.
That I cannot tell you how many times I wake up at 3:30 in the morning because my left leg from my hip down to my knee is just I feel like I've been shot.
Man. See, I don't go to bed till 7, and it happened right at 8:30.
7 in the morning?
Yeah.
Drew, stop.
Isn't that crazy? So I get 3 hours of sleep before the show, 3 hours of sleep after the show. So 6 hours. It works out well. But man, it's I was just hitting that rim and boom. Pain.
See, I don't sleep. I'm basically an insomniac.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do finally fall asleep at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up 2 hours later because I think I'm getting stabbed, I don't know how you do it, big dog. I thought I didn't sleep often, but whew.
Yeah. I used to just survive off of 4 hours. I need 6 now. I feel like I'm getting old. Crazy. Coming back in 30 seconds.
Or visit HuffCreekProperties.com.
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Text line 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. A couple of texts have come in so far. First one says, ESPN Rob, thanks for breaking that U.S. men's soccer news. That's stuff that doesn't get much press. Good news for the World Cup and qualifying. Yeah, that's enormous news. And I'm a soccer guy, man. I've one of the most exciting things that I learned when I got here was that not only did I have a USL League One professional team to follow now, but on top of that, that they're so invested in the community that they reached out to me to get a relationship going, and I'm very excited about the Greenville Triumph, and that carries all the way up to the U.S. men's national team. I can tell you in advance, prepare yourself when it gets time to go through qualifying for the World Cup, when it gets time to go through the Gold Cup, when it gets time to get into the World Cup, and fingers crossed, we'll make it this time. You're going to get some coverage, man. You're going to get some soccer coverage. So pretty excited. I know that there is a soccer community here in the upstate. I know that there's a soccer. I've seen it. I've invested in it. I've involved myself in it. Heck, I've made friends through the soccer community. Probably quicker than I've made friends in any other group that I have invested my time in since I've moved here to the upstate. So I know there's some net heads out there. I know there's some folks out there that want to talk a little football, and you're going to get your time in the sun, just like the UFC folks do, the boxing folks do, just like every other sport does here on the show. So you are very welcome. It's my pleasure. Glad we were able to do it. Second text that came in, and Drew, this one's directed to you at ESPN. Rob, before we go any further, we need very important information, a very important question to be answered. Is DJ Drew a Duke's Mayo guy?
Yeah, I got to have Duke's. That's just cut and dry. I got nothing else to say about that. I'm not one of those annoying people who just go on and on about it. I was talking to somebody, I just pulled out the Duke's Mayo, and they said, "Oh, you gotta have Duke's. You gotta have." I said, "Yeah, I also have mustard sometimes. I mean, it's a condiment. I mean, I have Duke's, but I didn't realize how passionate some people are about it. If you don't have Duke's, that is offensive to some people.
If you don't have Duke's, what are you doing with your life?
What are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?" Yeah, that was when I first moved here. One of the first text messages I got was about, we were talking about, I always ask, what's the, where's the go-to for hamburgers? Where's the go-to for hot dogs? Where's the go-to for pizza? Where's the go-to for this or that or whatever? And the answer was always, it doesn't matter where you go for a hamburger, but you better make sure you put Duke's mayonnaise on it. And one day that turned into, Drew, and I'm not making this up, that turned into the entire damn show. Was just people calling in to tell me why I didn't understand how great Duke's Mayo was, why I didn't understand and needed to, that Duke's Mayo is the go-to, and if you're not eating Duke's, you're doing it wrong, and yada yada yada. And I jumped on the train, man. Not the gravy train, the Mayo train. I jumped on the Mayo train immediately. In fact, last week when I was down in Florida on, I think Wednesday or Thursday night, the little brother has upgraded his game, and he has got himself one of the big green egg grills, the porcelain grills.
Oh yeah,
game changer, man, game changer. So he did hamburgers for us one night for the fam, and we sat down at the table, and I'm getting ready, and I said to him, I was like, "Oh man, I screwed up," and they said, "What?" And I said, I wanted to bring down a jar of Duke's Mayo for y'all to put on the burgers. And the sister-in-law walks over to the fridge, opens it up, and pulls out a half-eaten jar of Duke's Mayo. And she's like, "We got it covered, man. It's the best mayo. It's the go-to. It's the jam." So you Duke's people, you will be very happy to know that my limited influence down in the great state of Florida has now expanded to bringing the Duke's Mayo empire into new light. So, the Duke's is taking over the world, man. It really is. It's down there in Florida now. The little brother and sister-in-law are spreading the good news of Duke's Mayo amongst the people down in the Sunshine State. Florida will soon be a Duke's Palace as well. So,
it's great.
At ESPN, Robbie has the upstate listener stamp of approval. Can we keep him? So, Zoe, you better come back strong. Zoe's not on the Duke's Mayo wagon, man. He doesn't understand the Duke's love. He's just like, Mayo's Mayo. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters. Yeah.
Drew making a threat to Lonzo's job over Duke's Mayo. Just like that. That.
The Duke argument is why I can't talk politics, because even if I agree with you, I'm not agreeing enough to the level that you approve of. I'm saying what you're saying, but not in a strong enough cultic way that I'm on the train. So I do agree. Mayo is not Mayo, but it's just a fact. I mean, you go with Duke's and you move on with your life. I mean, you focus on the burger most of the time.
I love that you get the upstate stamp of approval and then immediately go right back to, yeah, but settle down, guys. It's not that good.
I can't spend a whole day talking about that. I'm really glad I was not here for that particular day, because it's just you listen to it and you agree, but no, you don't get it. You don't get it, and then you want to keep talking about it. So until they just run out of speed, it's kind of a boring one-sided conversation there.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, since we talked some international sports, to open the show, we keep with that theme. Team USA Hoops has released its initial Olympics roster pool, and it's a big one of the biggest they've ever released. We're going to take a look at who might be in and who might be out for the U.S. men's national team as we head into the Olympics in just a few months. And one name from right here in the upstate is in that pool. Might we see Zion repping the U.S. men's basketball team coming up in the Summer Olympics? We'll talk about that next. My name is Rob, DJ Drew with the controls. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on Offsides with me, Mark Ryan, on ESPN Upstate.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets this Thursday from 3 to 7 as we talk about Furman football, basketball, and more with a special live edition of Offsides with Mark Ryan. This Thursday will be at Cherrydale Point.
Do you mix the mayo with your ketchup?
So I don't mix it before. For fries. I'll do that every now and then. But as a, what's the word I'm looking for? Fat American. I try I try to minimize that to the best of my ability. I fail miserably, Drew. I do, but I try my darndest.
Yeah, that's good. It's the thought that counts. I had to do it last night. I had chicken tenders at the cafeteria, and they didn't have any kind of dipping sauces, but ketchup and mayo. I went right to it.
They didn't offer a dipping sauce.
I know, that's just wrong. That's just criminal.
Yeah, that's. I had to tell you, man. I'd have been thinking about walking off my job on the spot.
This is a deal breaker. I can't work.
Y'all need to unionize for the sake of dipping sauce.
To be honest, they're normally closed at that time of hour, and I brought my own lunch. So when I saw the chicken tenders, I was like, "Yeah, I'll definitely take that." And they I think they had a thing of buffalo that I had missed. So buffalo sauce definitely would have been a go-to. So now that I think about it, I may have just missed out because I wasn't paying attention.
That happens to me all the time. Brian says, "Just say no to mayo."
I don't get that.
I'm not. No, yeah, I'm not anti-mayo in the least. I'm pro mayo, but mayo is made to. Here's what I don't understand. I don't understand people who slather the food in mayo. Like, mayo is an enhancer. It's not the primary taste. It should catch you right there in the midst of the jubilee of flavors of said hamburger.
I smother it.
Just say no to mayo. Now, like chicken, if I'm doing chicken, I'm going, depending on how it's cooked, but like chicken, 90% of the time I'm going barbecue sauce.
Yep.
Over mayo.
Or even honey mustard.
Yeah, but see, I need a spicy honey mustard. I'm not doing just like a plain honey mustard. Give me some kick to it.
But if you choose those routes, you cannot put mayo.
No, you can't do barbecue sauce and mayo. Mayo ruins the tang of barbecue sauce.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that. $30 seconds.
Sweet.
Made for upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies? Oh, look at them.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with us. Team USA basketball is getting prepared for the men's Olympic Games in Tokyo. And step one is, of course, releasing the 57 players who are part of the pool to fill the squad. There are 16 players who have already won Olympic gold medals for the U.S. LeBron James, two-time gold medalist Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, back on that list as well. Harrison Barnes, Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, Draymond Green, James Harden, Dwight Howard, Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, and Russell Westbrook are all on that list. But there is a heavy number of NBA stars who have yet to taste Olympic gold. Kawhi Leonard has said that he intends to play in the Olympics if he is healthy when the summer rolls around. Steph Curry has long said he would like the chance to compete in the Olympics. Curry has won a gold medal in basketball's World Cup, but never been on the Olympic stage. Now, what's going to be interesting this year is that there will be no tryouts for the team this year. USA Basketball will pair the list to a 12-person Olympic roster by early summer. Those decisions will be made by a selection committee and based in part on player availability and health. Training camp starts with player arrivals in Vegas on July 2nd while the NBA playoffs are ongoing, and the Olympics start July 23rd, just one day after the potential date of Game 7 of the NBA Finals. The U.S. is scheduled to play as many as 5 games in Vegas before leaving for Tokyo on the 19th of July. The Americans, who are seeking a 4th consecutive gold medal, open the Olympics against France on July 25th. If LeBron chooses to play, he could join Carmelo Anthony as the only men's players to make 4 U.S. Olympics teams. He said in recent months that he will consider the opportunity, noting that playing for U.S. coach Greg Popovich is a factor. James said, quote, with the postponement of the Tokyo Olympics from 2020 to 2021, it's important that we continue to remain flexible and consider all players who can contribute to our efforts to field the best USA team possible. These additions we are announcing today will help ensure that we are doing that. That's team managing director Jerry Colangelo. The additions who were not part of the pool created in early 2020 in anticipation of an Olympics happening last summer are Miami's Duncan Robinson, Cleveland's Jared Allen, Detroit's Jeremy Grant, Brooklyn's Blake Griffin, Milwaukee's Drew Holiday, Chicago's Zach LaVine, New York's Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, Toronto's Fred VanVleet, Atlanta's Trae Young, and the Houston trio of Eric Gordon, John Wall, and Christian Wood. And, of course, from the New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Williamson. Now, there were 44 players announced as part of the original pool last year. All of them remain with the exception of 2. Golden State's Klay Thompson, who is recovering from Achilles surgery, and Boston's Marcus Smart, who has battled injuries as well throughout much of the season thus far. There are some players back from last year's pool: Bam Adebayo, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Malcolm Brogdon, Jaylen Brown, Mike Conley, Curry, Davis, DeRozan, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell, Joe Harris, Tobias Harris, Gordon Hayward, Brandon Ingram, also from the Pelicans, Zion's teammate, Kyle Kuzma, Damian Lillard, Brooke Lopez, JaVale McGee, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Victor Oladipo, Jason Tatum, Miles Turner, Kemba Walker, and Derek White, amongst all the names that we mentioned to you earlier. Colangelo said, quote, having a larger pool than what we normally have is critical because of all the uncertainties we face about availability. But for USA Basketball to receive the commitment of so many outstanding players remains an indicator of the great honor of representing your country means to these men, quote, end quote. So, Ken, Zion make the Olympic team this year is going to be a very, very interesting proposition. Why? For a number of reasons. First and foremost, because there is so much talent. 57 players on the squad, 57 guys that could make this list. But can Zion be on the squad? The answer to me is, why wouldn't he be, right? Why wouldn't he be? If I'm looking predominantly at what Zion has done this year, and I don't know, Drew, how much, if any, of what Zion's been doing down in New Orleans you've gotten to keep an eye on. Of course, right out of Spartanburg, down there to NOLA as the first overall pick of the draft before last. Last year was had to miss most of the season due to rehabbing injuries. Got available late in the season, played a little bit before the shutdown. New Orleans was down in the hunt for the 8th seed, and they just could not get any momentum going in the bubble to end up beating out and making the 8th seed. But this year, Zion has been strong and getting better, right? His assists per game are coming up. In fact, he threw a beautiful little pounce pass the other night that showed how good of a passer Zion Williamson can be when he is on his A game. The dude has dominated. He is, statistically speaking, the best post player in the NBA right now. And while he may not be up there with the Nikolai Djokovic's of the world, the 7-footers of the world, checking in at that 6'9", 6'10" region on his good days. The dude is one of the best rebounders in the league. The dude has been going off with scoring points in the paint. Zion has been incredibly efficient. I would argue, if I go down the list of those 57 guys that we were just talking about, there's really nobody that is going to be better suited to play the paint in the Olympics than Zion Williamson if he remains healthy, if he continues to play well, if he keeps doing what he's doing. As far as I'm concerned, Zion, there's about, 11 locks on that team if they stay healthy, and Zion Williamson ought to be one of them. I think a guy like LeBron is a lock. I think a Steph Curry is a lock. I think Chris Paul, because of his leadership and the fact that he's still playing high-level ball, you pair him with Steph Curry, there's your 2 point guards. But, the way that the dude has owned the paint, there's really not a lot of other guys on that list. I might say Montrezl Harrell, just for the sake of having a good guy to plug in behind Zion to keep the physicality raised down in that 4-5 spot. But there's not another guy on that list that's going to be a dominant paint player the way that Zion Williamson has been this year. And if he keeps up that production, look, the Pelicans on a 2-game winning streak. The last 2 games, they have wiped the floor with contenders. And a big chunk of that reason is because Zion's shooting has gotten more efficient. I think it was against the Clippers, he was like 13 of 15 from the floor, threatened double-digit boards, had a few assists along the way as well. I don't know that we have seen a more well-rounded post player in this year's NBA than Zion Williamson. As far as I am concerned, that dude ought to be one of just a very small number of locks to make the Olympic team this year, which is not a title, Drew, that I really hoist on a lot of these NBA players. There's a lot of guys that I go, all right, these 5 guys are all kind of together. I could take any one of those 5, whichever one wants to be there. At the 1 spot, there's probably 4 or 5 point guards that I could see being there. Like I said, I think Paul's a lock because he's been there and done that as a 2-timer. Steph Curry probably a lock just to give yourself a guaranteed shooter on the outside. But most every position 1 through 5, there's a handful of guys with the exception of, say, LeBron, KD, if he's healthy. To me, Zion Williamson ought to be a lock for the Olympic pool. And if he gets left off, I would be shocked unless he decides on his own that he doesn't want to play.
I think the only concern would be defensively. European ball is different in some regards. But it is amazing how this worked out. The Olympics was supposed to happen last year. He wouldn't have been on that team. This year, definitely can make the team. And I need to fact check this, but what's really cool is at 20 years old to be the youngest Olympic Team USA player so far, I think would be something that would just be dynamic. But yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Famer in the NBA. So let's get him on there for experience sake, if nothing else. Of course, I was looking at the other big men. You do have Dwight Howard. You have Anthony Davis. Kevin Durant is a big man. Blake Griffin. Not the true centers, so he would play the number 5, is what you're saying, just for the big size and physicality.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. What's your thoughts? Do you think Zion makes the Olympic team? Do you think he's a lock, as I do? Do you think he needs some more time to grow to get ready for the next round? 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on air. Quick break. We come back to wrap up hour number 1 after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather.
It's 316 day, you know what I'm saying? You can take it to him. This for you, dog. Look what this is. Bro, that's cute. You know what else? It's limited edition. Also, limited edition. Stone Cold Steve Austin Championship, dog. This gonna look good on you. I'm trying it out. Bro, look at that. This is good. You know what else is limited edition? This box right here. You know what I'm saying? Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know what that purpose.
Man, the stream chat's dead today. Where's all my people at?
Huh. Mine just logged off. That's weird.
You're still there over here.
Oh, good. All right. Money. At the top of the hour.
Well, I get to go scream at a cell phone company. Oh, now you're gone. I get to go scream at a cell phone company later because my phone's busted. Brian asked if we're going to talk about Raw today. I will tell you that I'm going to ask, I believe that Zoe is going to join us on Thursday over the phone to host Fight Club. We're not going to take his segment away. We'll let you know when we get closer. What's up to everybody that's joined the stream? Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. You got anything you want to talk about, drop it in the comments on whatever platform you happen to be watching on. And we'll bring it up here on the stream. And if it's good enough, we'll bring it on air. Brian, what's up, big fella? Good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in. Hope all is well. Appreciate you.
20 seconds.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate, 844-GSP, ESPN 844-477-3776. Text to 71307, start your text with ESPN. Texter says, did I miss something? Kevin Durant is not a big man. I didn't say he was, and if I did, I misspoke. What I said was that there were just a few locks for the Olympic team, just a few of that, 57-man list that I think are locks for the team, LeBron being one, and that if Kevin Durant is healthy, Kevin Durant would be one, and I think that I would make Zion Williamson one. I don't think there's anyone that can do what Zion does on every area of the basketball court. The guy can be a distributor. The guy can be a pure rebounder. The guy can wipe the glass if you need him to. The guy can play the post. He can come out, but he can damn near play a shooting guard spot if he really needs to. So, again, no, if I said that he was a big man, I misspoke. Obviously, he is not. What I said was he was one of the locks to make this team if he is healthy. He is one of the locks to make this team if he is good to go by the time the Olympics roll around, which is certainly not a guarantee. KD has been struggling with injury for some time. There are questions about whether or not he can or would want to play for the Olympic squad this year. Like I said, I don't see any reason why Kevin Durant would not want to be on that squad other than health. But if he's healthy, he's a lock to make the team. If he's not, then that changes things up a little bit. But I listed the guys I thought were locks to make the Olympic team: LeBron, Kevin Durant. I think probably Chris Paul is still on that list to give it one more run. But I'm not 100% sure. I just simply said I think Zion deserves to be on that list as well. I think Zion deserves to be on that list as well. I think the guy can do more at the 4 spot than any other 4 that's listed in that pool as a whole. So that's where that came from. Hope that cleared it up. 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Coming up in the next hour of the show, Tom Brady did something that's a little bit crazy yesterday. Tom Brady gave out his phone number on Twitter. He said, I want to interact with my fans. I want to be able to talk with them a little bit more. So he gave out his phone number and a list of rules for people to interact with him via the phone number, which is kind of interesting. So we're going to tell you what those rules are. We're going to hear the audio from Tom Brady giving out his phone number. And then, and Drew doesn't know this yet, I'm excited to see how he responds to it. Drew, live on the air, we're going to call Tom Brady's phone number and see what happens. We're just going to call it. We're just going to call Brady's phone number and see if we can get the GOAT to answer. He gave out his phone number on Twitter. We are going to call Tom Brady's phone number and see if we can get the GOAT to answer the phone for a live interview, if only briefly. So that's coming up in the next hour of the show. We're also going to talk a little NASCAR. 2 reasons. Number one, I talked about this very briefly yesterday, but I went to look up tickets. I went to look up tickets to see how much it would cost me to be at Bristol in a week and a half when the boys run on dirt for the first time. It's a pretty ridiculous number that tickets are going for. So I want to talk about that first and foremost. But second off, what's really interesting is that the NASCAR guys are getting ready in a very interesting way. The NASCAR guys are going to be playing a little bit of dirt track cosplay this weekend after the Atlanta race to get prepared for the Bristol race. But it's going to put a lot on the plate. It's going to put a lot on the plate of these guys over the next week. And I'll show you just how seriously they're taking the preparations for Bristol. So that's coming up in the next segment as well. Plus, Tiger Woods makes his return to the world of golf video game style. I'll tell you what that means. And, of course, we'll start looking at the women's college bracket released yesterday. South Carolina, Dawn Staley and the Gals find themselves as the number 1 seed in the San Antonio bracket. So we're going to talk about that coming up in the next hour as well. All of that right here on The Rob Brown Show. Join the stream, Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, and, of course, on YouTube. But now it's your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. The keyword for the 1 o'clock hour today is machine. MACHINE, machine. Like, man, that Rob Brown is a sports talk radio machine. All you got to do is text that keyword machine to 72881, 72881, powered by BetQL. Let BetQL's proven data and analytics help you become a better. Download the BetQL app today. Text and data rates may apply in this national contest. Again, for the next hour, text machine to 72881 for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Quick break. We're back for hour 2 after this, right here on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville.
And there we go. Drew, I sent you a re-invite for the stream if you want to join back up with us.
Yeah, I will. The computer just decided to do refresh updates.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it do that when we're not on the air?
Yeah. That was a good time. Let's see. Coming out the first break, we'll have the Harley Davidson.
10-4. Oh, man. Hello again to everybody out there on the stream. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for hanging out with us. Brian says he got his first vaccine shot on Saturday. Good for you, man. My mom got her first one yesterday. Little brother got his first one yesterday. I am glad that this is starting to happen. That's good stuff. Hope we can all get to some football games this fall. That's going to be a big part of it. So good for you, Brian. Glad to hear that, man.
$30 seconds.
10-4.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hour number 2 gets its start right now. Hello to you, and how do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, back in the network studio. My man Drew, pushing the button, switching the switches, making the show sound as good as it does today. You want to be a part of the program, very simple to do at 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. You can text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text at ESPN. If you want to come at us in that direction, we'll read your text on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, or at ESPN Upstate. All the different ways to get in touch with us on the broadcast today. Also join our live stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show, or on YouTube at The Rob Brown Show. Do want to remind you that for the $1,000 cash stash, the keyword this hour is machine, M-A-C-H-I-N-E. The keyword is machine, M-A-C-H-I-N-E. But you have to text that number to 72881, 72881. If you text that number to 71307, you're not going to be entered. You're not going to win the $1,000, and you're not going to be able to take me out for a beer afterwards. 72881. That is the number to text machine, M-A-C-H-I-N-E, in order to get your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash stash here on ESPN Upstate. 72881 is the number to send that text of the word machine. All right. So, a couple of other things that I wanted to get to in this hour of the show. So, first and foremost, and I talked a little bit about this earlier in the week, I'm going to bring it up here. I looked up tickets. In fact, I'm going to do it again while we're here to the Bristol race coming up in a couple of weeks at on the dirt track there up in Tennessee. I looked up those tickets the other day for the Bristol Cup Series Food City Dirt Race, and I just went back to the website to go look at vividseats.com. Here's what I have found. If you want to sit way up in the top, the cheapest tickets that you are going to be able to get are going for about $400. If you want to sit on the start-finish line, you're going to be spending around $400 to sit start-finish line. If you want to sit way up in the Wallace Tower at the risers, you are looking at tickets that are somewhere in the neighborhood of about $175. If you want to sit over in the Dale Earnhardt Terrace, which is on the back stretch, the back straightaway, directly across from the start-finish line, you are looking at tickets from around $530. If you want to sit and Bristol's kind of interesting because Bristol is the opposite of most of the racetracks, right? If you're sitting in Atlanta, if you're sitting in Texas, if you're sitting in any of those places, you want to be start-finish line and you want to kind of be somewhere in the middle of the lower sections. But with Bristol, you want to be up a little bit higher. If you're at Bristol, you want to be sitting up a little bit higher, maybe not all the way in the back of the Wallace Tower, but if you want to sit up there, you're looking at the cheapest tickets going for about $200 a pop. Most of the tickets you would want to sit in for the cheap seats are going around $400. Here's why I bring that up. I bring that up because I have been saying for a while that I genuinely think this race has an opportunity to create a lot of interest in NASCAR that NASCAR has been looking for the past couple of years. It's been more and more difficult, increasingly difficult, to try to find a way to get new fans into races, especially when so many of the races are mile and a half cookie cutter tracks that more often than not, you got the winner, and then a 3.5 second gap, and then the second place, and then 3.5 second gap, and then third place, and then 3.5 second gap. And the only real racing going on towards the end of the race are the guys in 10th, 11th, 12th place, just trying to grab some extra points by finishing top 10. Bristol on dirt this year is not going to be that way. Bristol this year on dirt is going to be absolute chaos, man. It's going to be absolute chaos, and I cannot wait for it. You are going to have cars sliding everywhere. You are going to have, and it's going to be. I'll tell you this: I'd make you a bet. I'd set the over under on the amount of cars that are going to finish the dirt race at Bristol with barely any damage, not even no damage. The amount of cars that are going to finish any damage, the over under, I'd set it at 5, maybe 6.5, somewhere in that ballpark. There are going to be more cars that are dinged up, banged up. I would argue there is a chance that there will be as many cars that don't finish this race as cars that do. Honestly, I think you are going to have a probably a solid 17 to 22 cars that are not going to finish this race. And while ordinarily, I hate that, right? Ordinarily, I genuinely don't like that. Ordinarily, I'm not a fan. In this case, I think there's a chance for this to be really entertaining. But the one thing that's going to be the most interesting about it is how are these guys going to prepare themselves? How are these guys going to get themselves ready for this race? Well, one of the things that a number of the top tier series guys are going to be doing is finding a way to race at the Bristol Dirt Nationals. The Bristol Dirt Nationals take place this week and will include several Cup drivers that will be running on the dirt March 28th at Bristol when the track conditions are changed. Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott are all entered in the super late model division. They will run full shows Friday and Saturday. Saturday, they'll run a 60-lap feature that pays $50K for the win. Kyle Larson said, quote, "I'm excited to get there. I think we all are because we just don't know what it's going to be like. I don't really know. I'm probably not going to learn a whole lot the week before, other than just getting familiar with the banking and the track and stuff like that. A super late model on dirt is going to be way different than a Cup car on the same racetrack, so I don't know what to expect for the Cup race. Anyway, Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie will race in the 604 late models division this week at Bristol. Joey Logano will compete in the open modified division this week at Bristol, along with Camping World Truck Series driver Matt Crafton. Other Cup drivers are taking different approaches. Brad Keselowski drove a dirt race in the late models last Friday at Cochran Motor Speedway in Georgia. Kevin Harvick, Chase Briscoe, Martin Truex Jr. will compete in the March 27th truck race at Bristol to prepare for the Cup race. This will be Truex's first truck race since back in 2006. He said, quote, "I look at it as Bristol has been our worst track for the past couple of years. Why the heck not lay down dirt and see what we can do? I think it's going to be fun, new challenge, something different." Ryan Blaney says that he has been racing basically virtually at Bristol to get ready. He said, "I just do Ford Sim stuff, and we have a practice there, which will be good and kind of relying back to the truck dirt race I did at Eldora a couple times. I'll kind of think back on that a little bit and rewatch that race, but Bristol will be totally different. Bigger, high bank track, and the Cup car is going to drive a little bit different than the truck, so that's the biggest thing," end quote. Here's what it comes down to. I have been having conversations for the past year talking about different ways that different sports can start working towards getting back to the audience numbers that they had going into the pandemic before they lost so much of their audience. And NASCAR is no different. The NASCAR guys are trying to find different ways that they can rebuild an audience. Their audience was growing very slowly, but their audience was growing going into the pandemic. And one of the things that I found most interesting about it, one of the things that I found most interesting and want to keep an eye on how it develops, is the way that NASCAR stayed connected during the pandemic in ways that a lot of sports didn't have the option to, right? So you had every sport, for instance, that started leaning towards esports, started learning towards a virtual version of their sport. You had, for instance, the NBA, before they went into the bubble, had guys running NBA 2K games against each other virtually. And I think baseball had some college baseball players playing MLB The Show together. But what NASCAR did was very interesting in that NASCAR ran full virtual races, and they treated it as if it was a TV production race, right? They ran hour to hour and 15-minute tracks. They had drivers across the country all logged into one server, and they had Mike Joy and Jeff Gordon and the pitside reporters all there reporting as if it was an actual race, calling it play-by-play style, as if it was an actual race. And from what I could tell, NASCAR fans were relatively interested in it. Outside of NASCAR fans, esports fans primarily seemed very interested in it. They seemed to be paying attention to it. You had a lot of folks in a lot of different categories of NASCAR fans pay attention. Well, when this season came back and NASCAR decided to try to run this year, they decided, well, let's do something a little bit different. Let's not just do the same old season. This is going to be and NASCAR has officially titled it the greatest season ever. They are trying something new. They lost some fan favorites. They lost the Jimmy Johnsons of the world. But what they decided to do was add some new races into the mix. We're going racing at Bristol on dirt. They added 2 or 3 road courses. That's been one of the biggest complaints about NASCAR the past few years. Can we get some more road races mixed in there to see how they go? Well, the answer was yes. And NASCAR, while it has also been hit in the ratings coming out of the coronavirus, does seem to have more foundational support for it than a lot of other sports have over the past couple of months. And I'm intrigued to see if by adding Bristol, adding road courses, etc., that support stays there or if it goes away. The dirt race at Bristol, if you are somebody who goes, I don't watch a lot of racing, but I'll watch for the races that have crashes, Bristol Dirt's going to be for you. I mean, these cars are going to be banged up when it's all said and done. You're going to have guys sliding into walls, sliding into each other. It's going to be good. And I'm very, very excited about it. All right, 844-GSP, ESPN, 844-477-3776. Yesterday, there was a discussion going on about Frank Martin, the head coach at the University of South Carolina for the basketball squad. Mark Ryan brought it up on his show, and he got quite a lot of feedback. I want to address that, and we will do it when we come back here in just a minute. My name is Rob Brown. My man Drew back at the helm, touching the buttons, switching the switches. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
And Harley Davidson.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Harley Davidson of Greenville. I got the chance to meet with the folks at Harley a few weeks ago, went into their shop. Their shop was absolutely beautiful, perfectly taken care of. Every surface was clean. You can tell they genuinely care about the gear, about the product, and about the name they represent. And now they want to get you on the back of a brand new Harley as the weather changes to spring. It's going to be absolutely beautiful and sunny all week long. Why not get on the back of a Harley Davidson, a piece of Americana right now? You can get pre-qualified now by going to their website at upstateharley.com. Upstateharley.com. Right there on the website, there's a big orange button that says get pre-qualified now, and now is a perfect time to do it with rates starting as low as $2 0.99% APR on all new in-stock Harley-Davidson motorcycles for 60 months. Or if you're looking for something pre-owned, they have the largest selection of pre-owned bikes in the entire upstate. You can get on the back of one for very little money right now. 2020 Harley-Davidson FLHT Electra Glide Standard, less than 3,600 miles. You can check out if you pre-qualify for that ride right now. The 2020 Harley FLHXS Street Glide Special, a beautiful bike, and they got it in that Harley orange, which looks good cruising down the side of the Blue Ridge Mountains or around downtown Greenville, Spartanburg. Go check it out right now. Their entire pre-owned inventory is on upstateharley.com. That's upstateharley.com. Oh, man. All right, feedback on the stream should be fixed, I think. I left Drew's mic on, or streaming mic on, which is off now, so we should be good there.
Computers have been crazy today. It took me 20 minutes to upload this past hour.
Yeah.
So, saving your audio is quite the chore.
If you need to wait until after the show's over.
I hate doing that.
Yeah, I know, because then you got to stick around. But
yeah,
if it makes it easier, go bananas.
Yeah. I have to do that for the final hour because Diesel is in here.
Yeah.
2:59. I kind of screwed him over yesterday. I went right into Mark Ryan's open wave too soon. So I don't know how he fixed that, but I said, see ya. So. Could use the newbie card yesterday. I can't do that today. So
the newbie card.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's okay, DJ Drew Diesel can handle it. He works for the man show. The show that refuses to talk about wrestling. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Appreciate that.
Chocolate peanut butter Tootsie Dough. Oh, dang it. I screwed up the greatest opening lyric of all time. That commercial with tag team singing the ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it comes on, that song gets stuck in my head for a hot minute. I don't know why. Hashtag great marketing.
Yep. Geico's genius. 60 seconds. DraftKings. That's a new commercial.
Eligibility restrictions and terms and conditions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
He's not messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show. ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob, Drew filling in for Lonzo this week, who's off on a well-deserved vacation. Thanks for hanging out with us. 844-GSP. ESPN 844-477-3776 is the number to be on the show. Text us at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We can read them on the air that way. So, yesterday, my man Mark Ryan, who hosts Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel every single weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m., said on Twitter in a tweet that got quite a bit of reaction that, and this is a quote from Mark, quote, "From the mentality standpoint, Frank Martin is the closest thing to Bobby Knight in this era," end quote. And he got blown up. He got blown up on Twitter and on the air because of that comment. I mean, I'm looking through and reading some of the replies to some of the things that folks had to say about that. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting because there is obviously two separate mentalities about Frank Martin. We know what happened back in, 2014, when Frank Martin was suspended by South Carolina for the school's regular season finale at Mississippi State because in a loss to a pretty good Florida team, 72-46 before that, Frank Martin had some things to say to his players. He was caught on camera shouting and cursing harshly at then freshman Dwayne Notice. Clip of the incident went viral. Earlier in the second half, Martin had also been seen cursing at forward Michael Carrera. There was a lot of backlash towards Frank Martin, who at that time was 47 years old. He had kind of taken and kind of still to some degree has a reputation at being almost a drill sergeant in the disciplining of his team, is known for being very intense on the sideline. The guy had made 4 NCAA appearances in 5 seasons at Kansas State in his first college head coaching job before he was brought to Columbia to try to turn around that program. It was a little, I mean, it came across as harsh, right? Came across as harsh. So Mark Ryan says that in terms of attitude, that Frank Martin is the closest thing we have to Bobby Knight in this era of college basketball, and Mark Ryan took a lot of heat because of that statement yesterday. And I wanted to address that, but I wanted to get the thoughts of the listeners here on the Rob Brown Show as to what Mark Ryan had to say about Frank Martin yesterday. Now, unfortunately, I had pulled the audio from Mark's show yesterday, and when I went to get it ready for this segment, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but it got corrupted, and so I don't have it available here in this segment. I may be able to rescue it and have it for you in the third hour of the show. But I wanted to get your thoughts as to whether or not you thought that was, if you thought it was accurate, if you thought it was factual, if you thought it was appropriate or not for Mark Ryan to have said what he said. Because I got to thinking about it. I read through a lot of the replies. I looked into it as to what I thought the attitude of the South Carolina Gamecocks were towards Frank Martin based on what we know about him now today. And the response from a lot of South Carolina fans seems to have been that while Frank Martin is a guy that is known for being very intense, while Frank Martin is a guy who's known for getting in and laying into his players a little bit, that to compare him to Bobby Knight is unfair. Bobby Knight was a guy who not only verbally harassed his players, but we know that Bobby Knight is a guy that was known to strike players, was known to put his hands on players, was known to get physical with his players. There's no indication that Frank Martin has or would do any of that, but he coaches very harshly. He is a coach who has that kind of old school mentality, and a lot of people seem to be turned off by that mentality, seem to be turned off by the fact that Frank Martin doesn't have an issue using some harsh language, really getting into the faces of his players, giving those death stares to officials, opposing coaches, opposing players that tick him off during a game, etc. And here is all it comes down to. Frank Martin coaches with an old school mentality, right? Which is not the way that many, if not most, of the new age coaches tend to handle themselves, right? New age coaches seem to be a lot more player friendly, a lot more one of the boys, a lot more willing to listen to the players and coach them in a way that they, if you'll excuse the lack of formality with my language here, they just enjoy it. He's more of a player's coach. He's more of a guy that gives a little free reign. He doesn't mind if the players have a little fun, show off a little bit. Whereas Frank Martin's a guy that preaches discipline and demands accountability and demands that his players react to his discipline, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have a problem with it. Look, the cussing out of players, not that I'm excusing it, not that I'm necessarily okay with it, but we all tend to want to connect the way that we expect bosses to connect in business, in a business environment, to the way that coaches should treat players, right? The athletics world is different than a Fortune 500 company with its CEO at the helm. It's just different. It's not the same. It's not treated the same. So I don't really mind if I look when we sit in business meetings for ESPN Upstate. Yeah, the guys in the room will throw out cuss words every now and then, right? When Zoe and I and Mark and Diesel are sitting around doing station updates every couple of weeks, yeah, some of us throw out some bad language here and there. Now, we don't directly cuss at each other. It's just worked into the vernacular. It is what it is. I'm not going to be anything honest about with you guys about who I am as a person. That's just kind of how it goes. It's another thing when Frank Martin, for instance, screams at, notice that, answer the question, dumbass, and screams that at him on the sideline. People aren't going to view that in the same way. But I had a conversation a couple of football seasons ago. Sean Payton of the Saints was caught cussing on film on the sideline of a Saints game, and my mom was like, "Oh, he should be held accountable for that. They can't be allowed. It's a football field. It's a basketball court." Since the pandemic kicked up and we started hearing better on-court and on-field audio, you've gotten to experience the language that's used on a basketball court. It's not clean and squeaky. It never has been. Frankly, it's never going to be, right? So I don't necessarily hold the head coaches to a different standard. What Bobby Knight did and the way that Bobby Knight coached was overboard. And I don't think you're going to find many people. You'll find some, but you're not going to find many people who are going to say, "Oh, well, Bobby Knight was a product of his generation. It's just a little different." It is, and it was. And it was unacceptable then, and it's unacceptable now. Frank Martin, here's a way, especially in this day and age of social media, when being able to talk to fans is more accessible than ever before for players. I have not found, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I have not found a single example of a former Frank Martin player who has come out and had anything negative to say about playing for Frank Martin. I have not heard of a single former Gamecock who has come out and said, "Oh, yeah, he was abusive and he made my time there miserable and I wish I'd have gone somewhere else to college," or whatever. And in a day and age where players can transfer almost at will to another school if they wish to do so, it's not like we're seeing players who are bailing out on the Gamecocks, right? Now, to me, the more fair question wouldn't be, is Frank Martin an acceptable coach? It's, are you satisfied with what's happening on the floor for the Gamecocks? And that's a fair argument. Since Frank Martin took the Gamecocks to a Final Four a few years ago, they've been about a 500 ball club. And I think it's more than fair to ask if Frank Martin is doing an acceptable job as a college head coach. As to whether or not he is an acceptable coach, I think it's more than fair to ask if he's doing a good enough job to remain on as the coach than it is to ask, is he too mean to players? Is he too mean to players? And I don't think that's, again, there are some people who's going to say he is. I don't. A coach using bad language on the sideline doesn't do anything. It doesn't trigger me. I don't care. It's a basketball court. If you want to play basketball without hearing any dirty words, head down to the Y and play in the men's senior pickup league that plays at lunchtime on Wednesdays. Now, if you want to argue that basketball should overhaul its culture, that's fine. Just recognize you're going to say it's the same thing about football. And to a lesser degree, the same thing about baseball. That's just the language of sport. You don't have to like it. But if you want to change it, you got a very, very tall task ahead of you. You really do. You really do. So I understand the heat that Mark Ryan was taking yesterday for comparing Frank Martin to Bobby Knight. And frankly, I don't agree with him. I think Frank Martin has a drill sergeant mentality. Sure. I think he's a little more intense than some of the new age coaches, right? You're not going to hear Brad Stevens out there using that language. You're not going to hear a lot of the younger coaches, Archie Miller, not a coach anymore, but you're not going to hear Archie Miller cussing like that directly at his players. You're not going to hear any of that because the new age coaching mentality is to be a guy that your players connect with, want to associate. The new age mentality is to be a guy that they want to be bros with. Now, again, you don't have to like it, but that's the way that college athletes are used to being coached. And if you're going to bring them in and tell them, hey, look, the discipline level is going to be big time here. I'm intense. I expect you to be intense. That's fine. You're just limiting the recruit pool. And there's going to be guys who want that type of coaching. There's going to be guys that want that type of coaching, and they'll come play for you. But it's going to be a much greater pool of players who don't want that kind of coaching. They want to coach their boys with. They're going to want to play harder for a coach their boys with. You may not like that, but it's adapt or die. It's evolve or die. If Frank Martin is intense, if Frank Martin's a guy that gets in his players' faces, that uses dirty language, that gives those death stares and demands perfection out of his players, and you don't like it, that's cool, man. That's cool. Just recognize Frank Martin wouldn't be the coach for you. But is he a bad guy? I don't think he's a bad guy. I haven't found a single instance of anybody who speaks out about Frank Martin, who says they don't like Frank Martin, who say Frank Martin's too hard to play for, that he's too tough to play for, that he's too tough on the guys. Again, I don't see many, if any, Gamecock players the last few years. I mean, there may be one or two there that I didn't really pay attention to because I wasn't broadcasting in South Carolina. But I haven't seen guys transferring out of the program, and I haven't seen former players coming out to talk ill about Frank Martin because he was abusive, like Bobby Knight was. There have been plenty of players that have come out and spoken ill of Bobby Knight after playing for him. But I'm not seeing a lot of that out of Frank Martin. And I think it's important to note that in this discussion. So I'll take your responses. Do you think what Mark had to say yesterday on the show was inappropriate? Did he cross a line? Or do you have no issues with Frank Martin? That's my question for you. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Give it a shot. Quick break. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Let the game come to you. Listen no matter where you go. In Anderson, Clemson, Greenville, and Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate is always
I'm going to hit the head real quick, ladies and gents. I shall return very briefly. Drew, you're in charge of the stream. Have fun, buddy.
So Drew Brees was one of two players left of the entire 2001 draft class. The entire 2001 draft class is out of the NFL. Only one player remains from the entire 2000 to 2003 drafts. And of course, this should be kind of an obvious question. The reason I found this trivia question is because we are looking up his phone number. We're going to hit him up. 415-612-1737. According to Tom Brady, no texting on game days, so we'll hit him up because today is just a regular, normal day. Other than it's Happy 316 Day, celebrating Stone Cold Steve Austin Week. Among other things, happy drinking tomorrow. Happy St. Patty's Day.
All right, and we're back. It's my rock DJ voice. It's not a good one. Those of you that are watching these videos sometime in the future on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, if you guys are watching, feel free to, you can leave comments in there if you want, and we can come back and search and talk about them later. But you can also go to go to ESPN Upstate, leave your thoughts, send a message there, make a post on the ESPN Upstate page I can address, or tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. Twitter's always open. Except for now, because my phone's a brick. Get to go yell at a Verizon. I'm not going to yell. I'm not a man. Drew, I have a hard. Do you have a hard time being mean in a situation where you know something's wrong and you're right? I have a hard time being mean to people. I've just never been able to do it.
I don't know. I think your normal voice would still come across a little louder than the average person's. Do you just go into total different mode when you get off the air?
No, here's the fun thing. People don't believe this about me. In real life, I'm actually relatively introverted. Like, I don't have a problem if I'm in, like, so this past Saturday at the wedding I was just a guest at the wedding. And the guy who was saying the blessing before dinner at the reception has been a friend of mine since high school. And he was like, hey, can you introduce me? Like, he's a priest, right? He's a Catholic priest. And he's like, can you introduce me the way that you would like introduce a starting basketball player to do the invocation, right? Okay. And the majority of people at this wedding reception, I don't know, but they know, most of them who know who I was, because I've been friends with the groom for years, though I don't know them personally. So I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, giving your invocation today. Welcome from Choctawhatchee, Florida. He is the representative of the Alpha and the Omega, Father Mark Schaffner. And I don't have a problem being an idiot like that.
Right.
The problem I have is when somebody's like, hey, you need to go introduce yourself to that person over there. Takes a lot out of me to do that for some reason. But if I have to be mean to somebody, like if there's a customer service rep, like today, I'm going to go into Verizon, my phone break, to walk in and be like, hey, fix it. I can't do it.
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and everywhere on the radio.com app.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob, Drew with you. Be a part of the show, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number. Text welcome at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. Text us at 71307, 71307. Texter says, Rob, what was the Legally Blonde diva voice you just gave to the U of SC basketball players? If I did that, I didn't do it on purpose. And for those of you that have listened to the show for any length of time, you know that whenever I am impersonating somebody else and speaking for them, I tend to use a voice, right? I tend to use a voice. If I did not obviously mean any offense. In fact, if anything, I was talking about the fact that former Gamecocks players came to the defense and have come to the defense of Frank Martin in the past. You don't see a lot of these cats. I was unable to find any. I was looking through this last night to get ready for the show. I looked through it again this morning getting ready for the show. I have not found any former Gamecocks players that have said that they ever had any issue with Frank Martin. Again, it takes a certain kind of player to play for a head coach that is discipline-based, that is intense like Frank Martin, that demands perfection out of his players and will get a little loud and get a little angry and get a little intense if he does not get that like Frank Martin does. And I've yet to find any former Gamecock players. And if you know of one, please feel free to send it to me. I'd be happy to read through what they had to say, maybe even see if we can score an interview with them to get a inside perspective. And somebody asked me during the break why it is if this is the case, why not interview some Gamecock players that don't have a problem with Frank Martin? And my response to that, my answer to that would be, to me, it's relatively simple because it almost seems consensus. I haven't found a basketball player from South Carolina or elsewhere in his career that played for Frank Martin that has a problem with Frank Martin. So, I mean, if I start finding players that have spoken negatively about Frank Martin, then that discussion becomes a lot more prevalent. But here's something that I have, and I've had this rule for a long time in my sports radio career. I used to do political talk radio down in Okaloosa County, Florida, and I had the same opinion then. I don't feel like, and this is going to anger some people, but I need you to hear me out first. And Drew, I'll let you play judge, jury, and executioner in this conversation. I don't always feel like both sides of a conversation are necessary, right? Like, I don't feel that every conversation, both sides deserve equal weight. And a lot of people are going to be mad about me, but hear me out. So, for instance, if I was doing a science-based show, which I'm not, I'm doing a sports-based show. If I was doing a science-based show, I don't feel like I need to, for instance, give people who believe in the flat earth equal time to people who believe the earth is round. In fact, I don't even believe or feel like it needs to be an actual discussion, right? Like, I don't feel the need if somebody goes off, if Kyrie Irving goes out and goes, the world is flat, just look it up. Look it up. The world's flat. I don't think that needs equal time on a show to the amount of conversations that work only because the earth is round. I don't know if that's fair or not fair. Drew, if there were a number of former Gamecock players that were speaking out saying Frank Martin is too much, he is abusive verbally to his players, and that they regretted their time in South Carolina, wish they'd have played somewhere else. If there were a number of players that were coming out speaking about that, I'd probably then be willing to have the conversation more, but there aren't. It seems like, and I'm not going to say every player that played for Frank Martin was glad they did, but it seems there are far more players that have said they enjoyed their time playing for Frank Martin than saying that they regretted it. So therefore, I don't really feel like it's a conversation that I need to host both sides of the argument, because there's not really an argument there. Is that fair or unfair from the perspective of a sports talk host? Drew, I'll let you be the judge.
It's very fair, and here's why. Those who are not offended in the moment of having an experience should not be told that you should be offended. And that's what a lot of people want to voice their message and just say, but I think these people should have a problem with this. And when no one does, it doesn't concern you. So your voice really has no say in the matter. But like you said, the argument really does come down to his job and the results that he is getting done. To be fair, Frank Martin is a little bit of a dinosaur when it comes to the old era that these kids did not know any different. And this is the way everyone treated sports up until Tony Dungy, Bruce Pearl, Pete Carroll, the guys who started winning with a different approach just became this other option. But you don't hear kids who actually play the game really even make that argument of what style of coaching they prefer. I've never heard that come up in the recruiting process. Well, Nick Saban just sounds a little too abrasive to me. I don't know if I want to play for that guy. I have not heard a single recruit ever mention personality comes into play. They want to win more than anything.
Yeah, and if they believe Frank Martin gives them the best chance to do that, they're going to go for it, man. Or if they believe that's the best option, they're going to go for it. And you're right. I mean, look, Frank Martin coaches old school basketball. I've played for coaches like Frank Martin before. I've also played for coaches who are more, for lack of a better word, people person. Players coaches is the term we use. I've played for them both. And what I will tell you is that people respond to him differently. And again, this is not college level, but my ninth grade basketball coach was a guy by the name of Mike Busby. He was an Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputy and a heck of a basketball coach, but he ran his practices like a boot camp. There was no room for error. If there was an error, you paid for it. You ran desperates or suicides, as they called them. Some guys responded to that. We had other guys that were damn good basketball players that decided not to play ninth grade ball and just wait till they moved up to JV, where we had a guy by the name of Jeff Palmer. Coach Palmer was a trigonometry teacher in high school, an algebra teacher. And Jeff Palmer was a guy that everybody got along with. He was just the nicest guy. He was just a player's coach. And guys responded to him differently. Guys that responded to Busby maybe didn't get as much out of Palmer. Guys who responded to Palmer didn't get as much from Busby. It's just how, and Frank Martin coaches an old school style of basketball. There are still some guys who will respond to that and be better for it. But to say that he's abusive, again, I've seen nothing to support that claim outside of the suspension back in 2014 for cussing at a player. And again, even that doesn't really hurt my feelings all that much.
I would really hate to be a coach of a sport the younger the kid. And today you're not dealing with the kids having the problem. You're dealing with the mom.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the you should not treat my kid like this. And it just, everybody really gets a trophy nowadays and should not get their feelings hurt. And what is good for a kid is honestly a military mindset, at least if they're kind of young. And if they get into college, they can start making their own decisions. But most of the time, it's pretty good for the kid. I mean, get the parents out of the way and let the coach coach.
Sure, and that's an opinion a lot of people hold. I would go so far as to say, and this is from somebody in the media, a lot of times the media represents the mother and father voice that we all complain about. We're way off the clock. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll finish up this discussion and finish up the hour next. I'm Rob. He's Drew. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob.
Man, I didn't realize how late we were there. Whoops. Whoopsie.
Yep, I didn't either.
It's all good. We're probably going to have time to come back, do the keyword, and then jump right back to break.
Okay. All right. So the final hour, we're going to call Tom. Is that the plan?
Yes, probably to open the next hour, yeah.
Calling Tom. So do you want it over the air, like the pushing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Buttons? Okay.
Absolutely. We're going to go all out for it.
It's all you talking to him.
If he's not going to answer, I'm going to go ahead and call that shot now. If he does, don't panic. We will interview him. You know, hey, it's Rob and Drew from ESPN Upstate in Greenville, South Carolina. And we'll just ask him some questions. But there's about a 0.0001% chance he'll actually answer.
Yeah. I'm just not sure how this will sound. I guess when I push the phone,
my only question is if it's going to go to voice. If it goes to voicemail, I'm going to leave a message.
Okay.
I'm not counting on it, but if it goes to a voicemail that's not full, then we'll leave a voicemail asking him for an interview.
Okay.
If he answers, we'll interview him. And if it rings and rings and rings and doesn't stop ringing, we'll let it ring probably 5 or 6 times. Mm-hmm. And then if it just keeps ringing, we'll just hang up and talk about it.
Yeah.
So the way that segment's going to work, we're going to come back. And for those of you watching on the stream or watching this in the future, this is how segments work behind the scenes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to introduce it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to play the audio of him talking about putting his phone number out there. And so what I'll do, I'm going to read the phone number because it's on his social media. So he's given consent for it to be out there. I'm going to read the answer here. In fact, I'll go ahead and give you the number so you can be ready to dial it.
I see it. 415-612-1737.
Yeah. So you pulled up the article already?
Yeah. It's just been playing on a loop, his movie.
Okay.
1 minute.
Yeah. Make sure you write that down and have that ready.
Yeah.
I'll set you up to make the call. Just pull it, open it up, dial tone everything on the air, dial it on the air, and we'll let it go.
Sounds good.
Dude, if he answers, I'm going to lose my mind, though. He won't, but if he does, I'll lose my mind.
Nah, don't lose your mind. Just be like, same old.
Just another day talking to the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Tom, I have a question. Why did you do this?
As a Saints fan, can you go away?
But you realize he is the last person of the entire 2001 draft class out of the NFL. Any player from 2000 to 2003 is no longer playing in the NFL. That to me is just amazing. And somebody was kind of making a meme about that. They said, Drew Brees retires, Phillip Rivers retires, Tom Brady, 4-year extension.
Yep.
It's awesome.
And a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, yeah. But they're going for another one. I mean, the business decisions Tampa Bay is making right now.
Tampa Bay is going to be good for another couple of years, man.
I mean, I love
sucks for me
pulling for Tampa Bay for a time but I just don't think I can do it again this year. I hoped Tampa Bay would win so he could retire. That was the point.
That was get one and go home, Tom.
Right. You did it. You're done.
But why would he? He's got arguably the best wide receiver set in the NFL. He got Gronk back. They just added to the defense. Like they're going to be better next year than this year.
But what else do you have to prove? It was just kind of funny.
Oh, he's just doing it for fun at this point. He ain't got jack to prove to nobody.
It's great. Unbelievable. 20 seconds. And I don't have music. There we go.
You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
So in the next segment, we're going to call Tom Brady. That's a real thing. We're going to call Tom Brady live on the air, see if he can answer. That's not a joke. That's not sarcasm. We're going to call Tom Brady, see if we can get Tom Brady on the phone live on the air. But before we do that, it's time to give you a chance. I'm not going to give you money. I'm going to see if you can win $1,000 from the $1,000 cash dash here on ESPN Upstate. The keyword for the 2 o'clock hour is band. Band. B-A-N-D, as in, hey, Rob's band is pretty damn good. B-A-N-D, band. You're going to text that word to 72881. Don't text it to 71307. You won't win. 72881 is the number for your chance to win $1,000 powered by BetQL. Let BetQL's proven data and analytics help you become a better. Download the BetQL app today. Text and data rates may apply in this national contest again this upcoming hour. Not this hour, but in a minute, you're going to text BAND, B-A-N-D, to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000 in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Back after this with hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate.
ESPN.
All right, so there we go. Another hour in the books. Third hour, we've got to make sure we stay on the clock since it's a hard out for Mark Ryan, not Ryan.
Yep. All right, let me get rid of that. Forgot to open up a new recording because we definitely want to get this recorded. How mad would you be? We have a full interview with Tom Brady.
And it crashes.
And I didn't record it. Oh, were we supposed to record it?
I know the skimmer also recovers this stuff or records this stuff.
It's a nice backup.
Yeah.
But
I'd hate to.
Knowing our luck.
If we get him, I want that interview posted like immediately.
Yep. We were able to get Tom Brady as planned. $20 seconds.
Warning.
Check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show is right here on ESPN Upstate. Hour number 3 gets going right now. Hello to you and how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Great to be with you. I'm Rob Brown. My man Drew is at the controls back in the palatial ESPN Upstate studios. So, time to see if we can get the GOAT on the air. And here's how, and here is why. Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, ... so far, according to Lonzo, posted a video on Twitter yesterday where he not only gave out his phone number, but he specified one rule for fans who want to send him a text message. He put out the video. Here is what Thomas Brady said on Twitter yesterday when he put out there in public his phone number on the internet.
Hey, what's up, everyone? So this is a real first for me, but I've been talked into giving out my cell phone on the internet. So listen, rule number one, before we get into any of this, no texting on game days. Really, though, what this is it's a tool that will allow me to communicate more directly with my fans and my followers, where we can actually do a better job of responding to you and your questions and all the great messages. Sometimes it gets hard to sort through the "you suck, Brady" in the comments. I know there's quite a few of those over the years. It's usually from the Jet fans. But to be clear, if you do text me "you suck," yes, I'll see it. And I may or may not respond. So shoot me a message. I promise I'm going to get back to as many of you guys as possible when I have the time.
So there's Tom Brady. Thomas says, here's my phone number. Text me. Hit me up. And he said one rule, no texting on game day. And I love that he threw out a crack at the Jets. He says, yes, I see all the texts that say you suck, mostly from Jets fans. I like that Brady's not even in that division anymore, and he's still taking pot shots at the woe are the Jets. I absolutely love it. So what we decided to do is we are going to call Tom Brady's phone number live on the air. We're going to call the number that Brady put on Twitter. We're going to see if the GOAT answers. If he doesn't, and it goes to voicemail, which it will not, because there's no way Tom Brady's voicemail wasn't filled up within 10 seconds of putting this out. If it goes to voicemail, we're going to leave a voicemail request asking Tom Brady to do an interview with us. But if Tom Brady answers, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk to the GOAT live right here on the air. So with that being said, Drew, if you are all queued up and ready, my man, we are going to call the number that Tom Brady put out on Twitter yesterday to see if we can get the GOAT to answer the phone. And we are going to do this. In fact, Drew, can you? I don't know if you can dial it while it's hot on the mic, but we're going to see if we can get Tom Brady to answer the phone. Here we go.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Oh, come on, Tom!
Number and dial again.
All right, try it again. Try it again. Because there's got to be, and listen, I'm sure Tom Brady's probably getting like 3,000 calls a minute right now, but we're going to try this thing again. All right, there's Tom Brady's number in the phone system. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy boy. You know you want to talk to us, Tom. All right, let's see. The fact that it's ringing is good. It means it's not dialed up.
That may have been a user error.
The mailbox is full and cannot.
Oh, no!
Goodbye.
Come on, Tom. Clear out the voicemails. There are some very important people trying to call you, Tom. Come on, Tom. You can't give out the number and then not answer the phone or clear out the voicemails. In fairness, I told Drew during the break that's exactly what was going to happen. I told him that's exactly what was going to happen. The fact that it rang is impressive at all. It means those lines aren't filled up. The fact that it rang at all is impressive. Tom, you got Gronk, you got Shaquille back, you got all your boys, the band is Godwin's franchise tag. You got nothing to be worried about right now. You should be sitting on the back deck out there with Giselle in Tampa, taking your fans' calls, Tom Brady. What else do you have to be doing with your life right now, Tom? You won the Super Bowl. You're sitting around getting schmammered on avocado tequila. If you got time to be slinging the Super Bowl trophy around Tampa Bay, then you got time to answer the phone when somebody as important as Rob Brown and Drew call you. Come on, man. Come on. You know what? I'm not satisfied. I'm not giving up. Drew, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. We're going to try him again. We're going to try Tom Brady a second time. He put his phone number out there for us to for the people to communicate with him. Come on, Tom, you got nothing better going on? Answer the phone, man.
Caller ID should say ESPN Upstate. He should know exactly who this is.
It should. Unless he's got like a don't talk to ESPN clause in his contract with Tampa.
Nah.
All right, here we go again. One more time ringing. Come on, Tom. I have very important questions to ask you.
The mailbox is full and
no
messages at this time. Goodbye.
I don't know why. There was like this little tiny spark of optimism that if we called him back-to-back times with ESPN Upstate showing on the ID, maybe he'd be like, oh, crap, did I have an interview scheduled I forgot about, and would answer, you know? Just a part of me that thinks Brady knows that if ESPN's calling him, that probably meant that there's an interview waiting for him.
I'm just curious. Did you have anything lined up you were specifically going to ask him? Like, why would you do this?
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
That was pretty much it. You know that you are going to get an unending amount of blank pics coming to your phone, right? Like, you know, you are going to be absolutely inundated with pictures of dude's junk, right? You know that's going to happen, Tom Brady. Why would you make this decision? In what universe is it a good idea for the most beloved but also most hated quarterback in the history of the National Football League to give his text message number to the people that love/hate him? You know this is a horrible idea, right? Like, come on. And that would have been it. After that, I honestly don't know. I don't know what I would have asked Tom Brady. I don't know what I would have asked outside of that.
I kind of expected it to have some kind of message with an April Fool's joke or,
right.
You know, did you really think this was going to happen? It just says voicemail full as if it is legit. That's dude, crazy.
But like I told you that before we made that phone call, right? I told you that before the call. We were during the break setting this segment up, and I said to Drew, Drew, here's what's going to happen. It's going to ring 6 times, and it's going to say, the voicemail box that you have tried to call is full. Please hang up and try your call another time. And that's exactly what happened, but in a much more seductive, sexy voice than I am capable of, is what happened. It's exactly what happened. And I got news for all of you. I got to tell you, we're going to try Tom Brady daily until he answers the phone or until that number's disconnected, right? Now, but look, here's the thing. That is not Tom Brady's number, all right? That number is not ringing the cell phone that is connected to Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't have a cell in his pocket that's going off with 22,000 text messages a minute from people like me being an idiot and from people sending Tom Brady inappropriate text and messages that say, you suck, Tom Brady. Right? That ain't happening. But that phone is absolutely connected to a computer that monitors the messages that are coming in and out of Tom Brady's phone, that he can sit down and click on a button and log into a text service like the one we use here at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. And it may be we got a texter that says that has to be a text-only number or something. I know a lot of celebs do that now. No chance that can be a real number. I agree with you. That is likely what it is. But you know we got to keep trying just in case. It rang. It rang multiple times. It rang and had a voicemail attached to it. So maybe there's a chance. Tom Brady seems like an iPhone guy to me, right? Tom Brady's an iPhone guy. Maybe there's a chance that there is an iPhone sitting in Brady's office in his billion-dollar mansion. That is one of the 8 or 9 offices he works out of. That's just ringing all day. And every now and then when Tom Brady gets a minute, he goes and he sits down and he scrolls through the text service that's set up and he responds. Look, if Tom Brady responds to 25 messages a day, right? He texts back, or a representative pretending to be Tom Brady. Who cares? then people are going to start talking about this on social media, and Tom Brady's just opened himself up to be one of the most socially interacted with quarterbacks, maybe athletes of all time. I agree, Texter. There's a 99.9% chance that this is just some phone that rings straight to a service. But just in case, could you imagine the day that we are sitting here and to the texter who texted into 71307 and said, ESPN, you need to make Lonzo call him when he gets back. Oh, you better believe that this is now a thing we do daily on the show. We are going to call Tom Brady's number daily until the day Tom Brady answers the phone. You better believe it. Every day. It won't be a whole segment every day. It'll just be at 2 o'clock every day, we ring Tom Brady's phone, or maybe we'll mix it up. Maybe we'll do it at different times every day just to see if we can randomly get him. And it'll be on the air every day. And every day, Lonzo is going to have to call Tom Brady. And if he answers, I am going to have Lonzo directly. And here's the thing. This is what I know happens. The sports talk guy in me says, man, if we get Tom Brady on the show, and we can get Tom Brady to talk to us, maybe we can turn it into a thing where we have Tom Brady on the show, once a month. Heck, once every couple of months. We can schedule something with Tom Brady's people to get him on the show. That'd be great.
We don't have time for more than that,
Yeah, I'm not.
Got other things.
Yeah, it's not like Tom Brady deserves more than a segment a month here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Of course not. The sports guy in me says maybe if we have a fun interview and Brady feels like he can pop some avocado tequila and have a little fun with us, maybe we can set up a thing. But then I think to myself, if we get Lonzo and his obvious outspoken disdain for the GOAT, Lonzo's going to be like, why'd you drink in front of your kids, man? That's inappropriate and unacceptable. And Tom Brady's going to go, this interview's stupid and I'm over it. Click. Right? But it's not going to stop me. So, Drew, go ahead and write that number down. You can do it in Sharpie because we're going to need it. You can post that number on the phone because every day we are going to call Tom Brady until A, that number is disconnected, B, Tom Brady answers the phone, or C, we get a cease and desist order from Tom Brady's people telling us if you call again, the authorities will be alerted. One of those three things is going to be the outcome. An interview, a disconnection, or an arrest warrant for me and Lonzo and Drew. That's how this game's going to go. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Roll on with the third hour of the show. I'm Rob Brown. Drew's at the helm. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score.
I don't know if you got
college football from over the weekend.
That?
The Prisma Health.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't hear you say that. Spin it around. We'll get it in the next break.
They'll play Chattanooga this upcoming Saturday, and Wofford football. They end up losing to Sanford on Saturday, 37-13. They've got an open week this Saturday before they will match up with BMI.
You know what really
March
sucks?
27th.
My
Clemson basketball, they are headed to the NCAA tournament. They are the
that does suck.
seed in the
now I
Midwest
have to
region,
go around to
and they
the
are going to
driver's
take
side
on the 10 seed
because there's no other keyholes on any
That
other
game
door.
is
So I got my
scheduled to take
coffee.
place this Friday in
My other
Indianapolis.
stuff,
The
maybe
South
like a lunch
Carolina
bag for
women's
work or
basketball team will
books
find
or
out
a
their
book bag,
NCAA
laptop.
tournament assignment tonight. Download the
Mark
Score
Ryan
app
just
today.
tweeted me.
Lightning fast sports alerts.
Take the audio out if you don't mind.
It's why the Score app is.
Thank you, bud. Mark Ryan just tweeted me and said, great minds think alike. Doe, they were going to call Brady too. I just told him to do it. First one to get Tom on the phone is the ESPN Upstate GOAT.
Yep. Highly agree. I would have definitely taken that title for myself and run with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The tweeters are coming out of the bricks right now. It's hilarious. Tom graduated from Michigan in 1937 and has been in the league ever since. He has a Motorola bag phone or a flip phone like an old Razor. Texter says maybe his Pixel phone died and won't charge. That is messed up, man. That's hilarious.
I'm sitting here, just got done eating dinner, and I read on Twitter, if NASCAR moves its numbers to the rear quarter panels, I'm done. That's why NASCAR's losing its fans. They moved the numbers. People. Jesus.
Kenny Wallace is hammered. Oh, that's from last night. Say Kenny Wallace is banging down bourbon at like noon. I love that guy. All right, we'll do a revisiting of the Brady thing here with some of the texts and tweets we've gotten, and then we'll jump out early to do the Prisma. Then we'll do a regular segment, and then Twitter trending topics, and that'll be the show, boys.
You got it.
And girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is tonight's main event of the evening.
I've been posting these shows to my personal Facebook page, which is not bad, but it's not the ESPN Upstate. There we go. Streams are up and live. Recorded. Still not finding great things trending in Twitter other than what we've talked about. May do a recap of some of the things we already hit. 30 seconds.
While supplies last.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
All right, some responses from our effort to get Tom Brady on the phone line just a little while ago. ESPN, that has to be a text-only number or something. I know a lot of celebs do that now. No chance that can be a real number. I agree with you, but the phone did ring repeatedly, which is like, for instance, if you try to call our text line, it doesn't ring because it's not a phone line, right? That actually rang, and it says it has a voicemail that's full. So that means that it accepts voicemails, which sounds like it's a real number. So we're going to keep trying it. At ESPN, maybe his Pixel phone died and won't charge. Ha, 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 ha. Hilarious, texter. For those of you that missed the beginning of the show, my cell phone has become a brick. It is. It won't turn on. It won't accept a charge. It won't turn on. It is bricked. I'm not going to say the service that I currently use here. Instead, I'm simply going to tell you this. This is the third in a row. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Third time in a row that I have paid. Listen to this crap, Drew. 3 times in a row. I have paid off a cell phone. All right? Paid it off in full. 24 months. I made a monthly payment on this phone 3 times in a row. I have paid off this phone 3 times in a row. The phone has just stopped within days of being paid off. 3 times in a row. I make the final payment on the phone. The phone is paid for free and clear. It's my phone 100% now. 3 times in a row, Drew. I make the final payment, and the phone just dies. Won't turn on, won't take a charge. I am convinced if there's a conspiracy theory I believe in, it is planned obsolescence. That these people who make these phones set them up. They know I got to make a payment for 24 months to pay this phone off. So they build the phone to last 24 months and a week. They build it that way. I'm convinced. There's inside of here, there's a little timer. It's got 3 little wheels, and they spin with numbers backwards on them. And 24 months and a week is on that little timer. And the day you make that last payment, you're inside that last 10 days. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bang, the phone just bricks and turns off. So, to you, texter, ha, LOL, way to make fun of my trauma live on the air. Much appreciated, bud. Much appreciated. At ESPN, you should try to call twice daily. No, look, I'm not gonna bug Tom that much. I don't want him to block the number. We'll try once a day between noon to 3. We'll do it at a different time every day, just to see if we can get the goat on the phone.
Or you could do twice back to back like we just did.
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
I mean, that's not bad to try again.
Yeah,
make sure
because
we're calling the right one.
The hope, Drew, is that one day he goes, this freaking number won't stop calling me. I'm going to answer just to tell. I will be thrilled if he answers the phone just to tell me, hey, this is Tom Brady. Stop calling me. Click. I'll consider that an absolute win at that point.
An IT friend who I know can set up a nonstop ringing where it just goes. You don't have to be here. So just set up your questions, and the system will have a preset of you asking if he ever picks up.
Love it. Love it. I'm not going to do that because, again, that to me, there's a better than 0, like less than 2%, but better than 0% chance that it will work one day. Like I said, even if it's for only him to say, I will give you 5 minutes if you never call me back, in which case I'll take it. I'm not gonna run out the welcome just in case we get Brady on the phone, because Mark Ryan and I now, whether he agrees to or not, I don't care. Mark Ryan and now have an agreement. Whoever is the first one to get Tom Brady on the phone becomes the ESPN Upstate GOAT, right? One of us is going to be the ESPN Upstate GOAT, and it's going to be whoever gets Brady on the phone. At ESPN, fake numbers are easy. I had to use one when I made a Tinder profile for my virgin roommate to get him late. Okay, all right. I don't know how that works. This is true. I've never done. I think I did Tinder once for like a week and a half. Tinder, Drew, I don't know if you've ever had to use it before. Tinder is where the male ego goes to die, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Tinder is where Tinder only works for men if you are a gorgeous man. Like if you are a looker, Tinder can work for you because women are out there doing the same thing, right? And if they are good, because here's the thing. I helped a girlfriend of mine scroll through Tinder one day before I moved here. Like we had nothing to do. She had just gotten out of a bad relationship. She's like, Rob, I think I just want to go have some fun. Will you help me like be picky on Twitter or on Tinder? And I was like, yeah, I'll help you through. Dude, women get thousands of matches a day on Tinder. Thousands of matches. Dudes, I was on Tinder, I think, but actually right before I came here. I got on Tinder in Pensacola. And Pensacola is not a huge town, but it's not a small one either. I think in the 3 weeks, like I was basically on Tinder for a month. I think I had 3 matches. I went on 2 dates and I was basically getting catfished with both of them, right? Like these girls were using pictures of them through college and they were in their 30s, right? And it's like, that is not, nope. And I'm not, like, I try not to be superficial and judgmental. I didn't, like, leave the date. But I was like, this is not, like, you're being dishonest, and that's a turnoff for me. This is not going to work out. Tinder for women is just thousands of matches a day. Tinder for dude is where the male ego goes to die. You will get a couple of matches if you're lucky, and they're always the ones you think about. Do I want to swipe left or right? Not the auto swipe where you see a girl and you're like, oh, yep, whatever, looks alone, yep. It's always the girls that you're like, I don't know, man, but like, maybe, we'll see. That's the ones you match with. Women, you guys have the dating game. So listen, I know that there are parts about being a woman that sucks. I had one girlfriend that like when she goes on a date, she enables her GPS GPS tracker for her best friend to make sure she goes to the date, where the date's supposed to be at, and then nowhere else, unless she texts like I'm going home with the dude or whatever, right? So much easier in the dating game for women than it is for dudes. The male ego goes to die on Tinder. At ESPN, the fact that Rob thinks the recording is sexy and seductive is concerning to me. That's from Tiger Norm. Norm, appreciate the text. Listen, if you didn't hear, the lady that does this voicemail is full, try your call it another time message. This voicemail is full, please. That lady's got confidence, man. Drew, you telling me that you don't think that, all right, you're telling me the lady that left that message, you're telling me that voice not an attractive voice? You're telling me you don't think the lady behind that voice isn't a looker, Drew? Come on, man. Be real.
Yeah, probably.
Be real. That chick sounds hot, all right? That chick sounds hot. It is what it is. That chick sounds hot. So here's the thing that's happened in my pastime, since I'm just completely burning this segment up. Everywhere that I've gone, I have met women because of my job, right? It's a call it a perk of the job. Everywhere I've ever gone, I've met women because of my job. And I get told very frequently, not anymore, but in my 20s, oh man, there's something about your voice that's attractive, right? Because when I'm on the air, I'm loud, I project, I'm confident. I know I do a good show. You're listening to the show. You might hate me, but you know it's a good show. At least I think so. I have been told by women my entire career, wow, there's just something about your voice. I have been told by a good chunk of those women, Drew, that meet me because of my voice, whether they come to a remote or they reach out and want to meet up for a drink or whatever. And in my younger and more formidable days, I wasn't against getting a text on the text line that said, Rob, I'm a so-and-so year-old girl, and I'd love to meet you for a drink one day, to go, yeah, why not? I'm single and also very dumb. I'll give this a shot. And about half the time, I would get, you don't look like what I thought you would look like with your voice. You don't look like what I thought you would look like. I get that more often than I don't, all right? You can be attracted to somebody's voice as a dude. It's not weird. And finally, after my brick phone, ESPN, quit watching porn on your phone. Listen, I'm not going to give you the insight as to what activities do and don't take place on my phone. Here's what I'm going to say. My phone has lasted 3 times in a row, 24 months, and then a couple of days after I paid it off before it bricked, all right? My lack or abundance of any particular type or subject of entertainment on the phone is not the reason the phone bricked, and I won't hear your insult, texter, all right? I won't. Thank you. Get out of here, man. Quick break. We're back after this. The Rob Brown Show wraps up the back half of the third hour right here on ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet
To the break here.
ESPNUpstate.com.
Tell you about my friends at Prisma Health. Prisma Health in the Upstate. It doesn't matter what type of health issue you are facing, whether you just need to find a primary care, a general practice provider, just a doctor that you trust to get your annual checkups, whether you are looking specifically for women's health services, right? They can hook you up there as well. If you have an orthopedic need, an injury, or pain in a muscle that continues to bug you, whether it's an issue with your bones or your joints, they got you covered. If you or someone you know is fighting through a fight with cancer, they can dedicate their services to you. Whether you need help with behavioral science and psychiatry, emergency services, general health and wellness, imaging, pediatrics, rehab, stroke care, surgery, or just virtual care if you're immunocompromised and you can't get out to a hospital because of the pandemic, they offer virtual care services as well. Prisma Health in the Upstate can help you regardless of what level and type of healthcare you need. And with 2,400 plus healthcare providers across the beautiful Palmetto State, Prisma Health wants to be the primary healthcare provider of you and your family. Go to their website right now at prismahealth.org, Prisma health.org. And on that site, you can find a doctor. You can find the Prisma location closest to you. You can get set up for an appointment. Make sure you look after your health. It is your number one investment. And if you have to invest in your health, you do it with Prisma Health. Their website, again, prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org. It is Prisma Health across the Upstate.
Just triple checking. Yeah, that's all the live reads, so we're good.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
That'll do, little pig.
Have you
ever been to Truist Park yet?
No, I have not. I was hoping to go last year, but then we had the whole pandemic happen.
Because I lived right there, basically.
Now, did you live there when they opened it?
Yeah.
And you didn't get to go?
I really didn't. I was working a lot, and the greatest times to do like Lyft, money-making things, Lyft, Uber, things like that, was right there. So all around it is just super nice and a lot of money to be made from that area. But never got a ticket to go in. So I need to do that. I was going to do it last year. I'm looking at all the ESPN article on who's going to have fans and who's not.
Let's see. It would take, to get to Truist Park in Atlanta, it would take me 2.5 hours. See, so one of the things I really want to do this season is I'd like to get over there for a Braves weekend series, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday day game kind of situation, and get an Airbnb and just stay in the ATL for a couple of days, go to 3 Braves games at Truist, because I've heard it's a beautiful park.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous from everything I've seen so far. But it takes 2 hours to get over there, but it takes another hour
and a half
once
just
you're
to,
there. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, and that's why, like, if I can do it, I'd like to get in it. Like, if I can find it, and this is what I used to do when I was way back in the day, me and some buddies from Destin would drive up to Atlanta once a season and go to a series, and we'd get a hotel or an Airbnb, but we get one. We pay a little extra to be within walking distance to the stadium. That way, we just park the car on Friday and don't get back in it until Sunday, or at least not around game time. So I'll probably look into that.
The amount of restaurants and shops and everything that was there in 2019 was just awesome. I mean, it's its own little city now. You can definitely stay and never leave Marietta.
Yeah, they built like a whole little village around it.
Yeah.
From what I heard.
Yeah, it's super cool. That's where Shaq set up his house during the Super Bowl. Like, he had an entertainment thing on that side of the area, and it was so fun.
Nice.
There's just so much to do over there.
On 800-494-6516.
Hey, Rob can read, so he says. Email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show, local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
Coming up in just about, we'll call it, about 21 minutes from right now, we will give you your keyword for your opportunity to win $1,000 in the 3 o'clock hour. Your 2 o'clock keyword is band, B-A-N-D. Text band, B-A-N-D, to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000 in the cash stash here on ESPN Upstate. Again, that keyword is band, B-A-N-D. Text it to 72881. So Dana White announces that UFC 261 will be hosted in Jacksonville, Florida, with a house full of fans. The fight card will be topped with 3 title fights down at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Be open to a full house, according to Dana, with a triple header of championship bouts, including a rematch between UFC welterweight champ Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. That tops the bill. Those two fought at UFC 251 last year. Masvidal stepped in on short notice and lost a unanimous decision to Usman. This time he'll have a few weeks of practice and training time. UFC strawweight champion Zhang Weili will put her belt on the line for the second time when she squares off with former champ Rose Namajunas. Zhang was part of the Fight of the Year in 2020, defeating another former champion. The UFC hopes she brings that same magic in Namajunas, another fan favorite. The third championship will pit flyweight title holder Valentina Shevchenko against top contender Jessica Andrade. Uriah Hall will fight Chris Weidman. Jimmy Crute will face Anthony Smith. There will be several other bouts. This will be one of the most stacked cards in UFC history, which is unsurprising to me, considering Dana has decided to open the doors and let in a full arena of fans. And look, my response to this is I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people want to. I know what people want to have it. I'm ready for Opens fans. I've been saying for a hot minute at this point that I want football. I want basketball. It's been weird. We got the March Madness tournament starting up Thursday night with the playing games, Friday and Saturday with round 1. It's going to be weird watching these big time games without fans in attendance. I'm not thrilled about it, but at the same time, I'm watching Ohio State right now have to shut down their football program because of one person being out. I watched Duke in Virginia and Kansas getting knocked out of their conference tournaments because of the COVID. I'm watching those 3 teams that are at this spot now that are questioning whether or not they're even going to be able to play in the NCAA tournament, right? I have no idea if they're even going to be able to play in the tournament because of the fact that the Rona is still here. Man, God, I think they need to use more caution, because here is what I'm terrified of, right? And Jacksonville, I'm going to say this. You guys know, I don't like Jacksonville, Florida. I dislike Jacksonville, Florida. It's one of the few places I've ever been that I'm like, you know what? If I'm never back in Jacksonville, I'll be okay with that. Really. I can't stand Jacksonville. It's a garbage city. I don't like it. ViStar is going to be packed that night. And here's my concern, and I'm sorry if I'm putting any of you off. It's not my intention to do so. But if you've got people who are looking at this and going, yeah, I'll go to a packed out UFC fight at ViStar, there's going to be a pop in cases. And here's what I'm really concerned about, right? With these vaccinations starting to come out with more and more and more and more vaccinations being handed out. We are getting closer and closer to be able to go back to regular games with crowds and attendance and all that. And if there is a breakout at this event because of this event that is traced back to this event, it is going to set the comeback, even if it's just in MMA, even if it's just for UFC, it might set the comeback back a little bit further, right? It might make it that much more difficult to get permission, because here's the thing, you don't have to like this, but if there is a breakout, especially if it's within the sport, right? Because if ViStar is filled up, those hotels around Jacksonville are going to be filled up. The bars and the restaurants are going to be filled up. And if you have a bump in cases that comes 2 weeks after the UFC event down in Jayville, then especially if the fighters, because there's going to be people around the fighters. There's going to be people around the trainers. There's going to be people around the octagon, around the announcers, the TV personalities, the camera crews. It takes a lot of people to put an event like this on. And if those folks get a spike, it might make it that much more difficult for that organization and for other organizations like it to make their way back. I'm just concerned. I'm not going to sit here and call for a boycott, man. If you want to go. It's your life. It's your life. But I don't want to see more. I've got a friend right now, a guy named Ryan Mills, lives in Jacksonville. He's a buddy of mine. He was broadcaster for a number of years. And Ryan Bonifant, not Mills. Ryan Bonifant. It's a friend of mine. He's down in Jacksonville. He is a Twitch streamer. He streams himself playing games, and he does really well with it. He's got it, and it's kicking his butt right now, right? Same as it did to Diesel. Diesel had it months ago. It kicked Diesel's butt for a handful of days. And these guys are young and healthy, right? I don't want to see anybody get impacted by this. And I certainly don't want to see people get impacted to the point that we start having to go backwards in our progression towards getting sports back. That's what I want. That's not what I want. I don't want people to start going backwards in the progression we're just getting to the point where we're able to start having fans, hopefully safely in attendance at games. And as the vaccination rolls out, maybe by fall we can get full stadiums going again. I don't know. But if Dana's going to do it now when nobody else is, man, it's a risk I wouldn't want to be the one to take. It's the one I wouldn't want to take. I don't want to be the guy. A couple of texts, then we'll take a break out of ESPN. Jax sucks for reals. Yeah, I agree with that. It's a terrible place, man. Jacksonville sucks. It's the worst city in America. I've said that. It's the biggest city in the state of Florida. I guess a lot of people didn't notice this. I talked about it on Twitter with a friend of mine the other day. Jacksonville is the biggest city in Florida. It's the largest city in the Southeast. It's like the 11th largest city in America, and it's also the worst. At ESPN, open it up, baby. Nobody cares. Let it rip. A lot of people do care, man. A lot of people do care. If you want to take the risk, that's fine. Have that. But again, if there's a bump to the point that we're filling up hospitals again, we're going to go back to no fans. And if you're a UFC fan of all people, should know UFC major cards in UFC without fans has been a bit of a letdown. It's been a bit of a letdown. Doesn't have the same excitement on TV as it does. Don't we want to do everything we can to get better and closer to where we can go back? At ESPN, that's pretty close to Springfield and Jacksonville. Will they have the whole police force there for protection? I don't know. And if you're a cop, do you want to be there? Do you want to be there? Do you want to get called out to UFC detail for that event? With ViStar probably holds, I'm guessing, 19,000. Do you want to be the one that's got to police that crowd? I sure as hell don't. Absolutely not. Take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we talk about what you're talking about. We take what's trending on Twitter and talk about it. Twitter Trending Topics is next on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. Let the game.
Just about the time the show ends and I get to go outside to fix my phone, it starts raining. Of course. Yep. Of course.
Got really dark in here.
Ugh.
Yeah. I did not want to get up this morning. Very rainy, cold.
Yeah, it's a crappy day.
Yep. I'm so glad I work indoors for a living.
I mean, the first time must have been okay. But they say during the summer that drinks are ice cold. I hope not, because that means they would be impossible to drink. Because they would be solid.
The greatest.
Here's a beer, man. It's just ice cold. Damn it. I guess I can lick it. I read that last year MTV's Real World got 40,000 applications. That's amazing, man. Such an even number. You would think it would be 40,008, maybe. Yeah, man. I got a lamp in my hotel room and it has a 3-way light bulb in it. If you don't know a light bulb's a 3-way light bulb, it messes with your head. Because you go to turn it off and it just gets brighter. Like, damn it, light bulb, that's the exact opposite of what I want you to do.
God, the delivery's so good. You ever listen to Mitch
Hedberg?
Hedberg?
It gets brighter once more. I will break you.
Audio
That's the only reason I had this thing out here.
Never watched them live or any videos.
Oh, yeah, man. I saw a commercial that said, forget everything you know about slipcovers. So I did. And it was a load off my mind. Then the commercial tried to sell slipcovers, but I didn't know what the hell they were. Now, is a hippopotamus or a really cool opotamus? That's good.
I think that's the tip I heard. Right there.
I want to rob a bank with a BB gun. Give me all your money, or I will give you a dimple. I will be rich. You will be cute. I got a belt on that holds up my pants, and my pants have belt loops that hold up my belt. What the hell is really going on down there? Who is the real hero? Now, if I was a drummer and I accidentally grabbed, that'd be cool if you were a drummer and you accidentally grabbed 2 magic wands instead of drumsticks. You're pounding out the beat. Next thing you know, your bass player turns into a can of soup. All right. Can we take that joke out? Can we edit it? I love cottage cheese. That's why I want to try other dwelling cheeses too. I want to try studio apartment cheese. Or maybe igloo cheese. Or if I'm feeling adventurous, mobile home cheese. Don't eat mobile home cheese during a tornado.
God, Mitch Hedberg was the best. The best. Oh, man.
Oh, I bring in Twitter trending topics. Right?
Yes. So you'll play the sounder.
Okay.
And then after the sounder, you will intro it.
Then it's me. All
yep.
Right. Cool. I figured that out late yesterday. 30 seconds for me.
/MAX.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
It's time to see what's been trending on the internets. Twitter Trending topics.
So you do it like Zoe. You say it real slow just to make sure you don't screw up.
It's very difficult to say.
I respect it.
Twitter trending topics. We end the show a lot how we began it. Happy 316 Day.
Chaos and inanity.
WWE celebrates Stone Cold Steve Austin Week and Austin 316 Day, commemorating the 25-year anniversary of the Legends Wrestling debut.
Oh, man, can I get a hell yeah? That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. It is Stone Cold Day. Happy 316 Day, one of the greatest of all time. The feud with Mr. McMahon, one of the greatest. And, I've argued in the past that the Stone Cold was what made the Attitude Era the Attitude Era. It was Stone Cold that made it the greatest golden era in professional wrestling. Never forget the clip of Stone Cold beating Vince McMahon with a bedpan in the hospital that day, dropping elbows on just about everybody. And it was the day that he joined Mr. McMahon that, to me anyway, the Attitude Era ended, and wrestling ended up going in a completely different direction. Some people say good, some people say bad. It depends on your perspective, but no doubt that if you made a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers, Stone Cold Steve Austin has a hell of a case to be placed on it. And by the way, for my own gratuitous cause, Texter just said on 71307 on the text line, Jacksonville is the largest city in the U.S. area-wise at over 875 square miles, which is ridiculous. Also a bleep hole, but a beautiful skyline to watch the sunrise. You can see a beautiful sunrise on just about any of the cities on the East Coast, so it doesn't get credit for that. Yes, Jacksonville is not one big city. It's like 25 really crappy little cities all jammed together. Anytime I can take a minute to dump on Jacksonville, I absolutely do it. Next up,
Jacob deGrom.
I saw he was trending a little bit ago, though I did not see why he is trending. I do know the Mets are playing the Astros right now. I've actually got that one on the TV in front of me, and Jacob deGrom is dealing right now in the spring so far. 9 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 16 Ks through 9 innings. And not only is dude bringing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs right now, but, and this is blowing my mind, Drew, he is throwing his slider at 93. Checking in a slider at 93. I'm not saying Jacob deGrom is the most masterful guy with the baseball on planet Earth right now, but I'm not saying that.
And Twitter just keeps rehashing all the memories. The only pitcher with at least 6 100-plus mile-per-hour pitches in the first inning of a regular season game last year, deGrom with 9, September 26th.
Yep.
So it's blowing up right now. It's coming in late, so this has had to capture my order here of everything, which is great. There wasn't that much trending. Of course, we mentioned Greenville Triumph.
Yep, Triumph trending locally right now because of the fact that the Greenville Triumph have announced their home opener on May 1st at Legacy Early College. I will be there. You better be as well. Opening schedule released April 24th. The boys will be on the road. They'll take on the Richmond Kickers up in Richmond at City Stadium. May 1st, they'll come back to Legacy Early College and take on North Texas SC, 2 of the teams that have a star above the logo. Remember, it was North Texas that knocked off the Triumph in their first USL League One championship opportunity last year. The Greenville Triumph ended up being USL League One champs, so both of those teams have a star over the crest. They will play in the home opener at Legacy Early College on May 1st and then May 8th up at Salem Stadium. The Greenville Triumph will take on North Carolina FC. So the first 3 games on the schedule release. Give them a follow at GVL Triumph, at GVL Triumph on Twitter. We've got a tremendous relationship with the Triumph, and it is awesome to be a part of it. Cannot wait to throw a riot out there at Legacy Early College. You better believe it, son.
And they're trending right now because they're taking on DC United this Saturday to start a preseason lineup that includes Charleston, Louisville, and Charlotte.
You know it. Can't wait, man. We got a damn fine soccer club. John Harkes and company have done a phenomenal job. Chris Lewis and the administration, the front office there. Look, they're committed not just to having a team. A lot of places are committed to having a team. The Greenville Triumph are committed to having a damn good team and a team that wants to be ingrained in the community here. As somebody who's been in a lot of different places with a lot of professional clubs at different levels, I can tell you from the moment I got here, when they reached out to me and said, what can we do to build a relationship with you so that we can utilize y'all to build a relationship with the community? I have been nothing short of incredibly impressed by them and very, very excited to get back into the crowd with the Riot, get back into Legacy Early College and go put that second star above the crest, man. Love me some local soccer. Let's go.
Last one is always meant to kind of get you thinking. Why would Chicago be trending?
Chicago trending. I'm gonna to keep it sports related. I am gonna go with the fact that now that Jameis Winston is signed and off the FA market, now that Ryan Fitzpatrick is signed and off the FA market, Chicago's options for quarterback basically boil down to Deshaun, Russell Wilson, or re-signing Mitchell Trubisky, and nobody thinks they're getting Deshaun. The chances that they get Russell are slim to none, which means Chicago Bears fans are terrified they're going to be stuck with Mitch Trubisky one more time again.
Actually, a lot simpler than that. They simply dyed their river green once again annually. St. Patty's Day tomorrow. Don't forget. I start tomorrow at 2. So
love it. We'll be celebrating the luck of the Irish tomorrow. Free cash dash on ESPN Upstate. Your chance to win $1,000. You're going to text the keyword social, SOCIAL, to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000. Again, that keyword is social, SOCIAL. You're going to text that to 72881, powered by BetQL. Let BetQL's proven data and analytics help you become a better. Download the BetQL app today by texting and win $1,000 by texting social, SOCIAL, to 72881.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville.
All right, buddy. Nice job today. Appreciate it.
Cool beans. See you tomorrow.
Those of you on the stream, appreciate you watching.